were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years, they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back.
Make sure that show us how good the sound is, so I can't talk like that. But we don't know how I'm gonna sound with them talking. I don't want to talk over them. But hey, peace. My bad. Oh, shit.
To the states where the people could vote, and that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well,
to
I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50, essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea and how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free, but they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and in asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working one or two jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that
Why
question?
don't you
That's
answer
the
the
problem.
question? Would you
Because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question,
you
would you
could
veto?
do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the governor, former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We
Man,
know
we
it's an
going through
issue
these
that's
joints
important
fast
to
as shit. I'm
Republicans,
not they going
Democrats.
through these topics fast as shit. I already missed like the first part. I think like the first 15 minutes. My bad. I'm trying not to speak through it, but I thought it was gonna take break. This shit going by fast. Jesus Christ.
Voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get...
She said, shit, Trump ain't got nobody twerking at his shit. Be ready to clock out.
your response.
Well, I would
And
like to respond.
let me just ask, though, why did...
That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well,
All
I've seen
this,
people on television.
let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken, and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good
Yeah.
thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But the
television.
people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme.
This
This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a four-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond
Yeah.
here.
Thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people, not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban. And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book because with me, they can write books. With nobody else, can they? But they have done such a poor job and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier. So let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military. You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals.
Yeah, my bad.
They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof, despite their fraudulent statements that they made. Crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President
stop
Harris,
him.
thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized.
A lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking, because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work, to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on longstanding work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of
response?
all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now. You don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out.
What you call it?
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar. But they take
back to windmills to solar plant.
400,
President
500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment
to.
that
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56
See, this
days.
shit's fucking go
And
back
I want to
there.
talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
Oh, Lord.
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar. Remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
one
ask
of
you-
those, David, one of those people going to be prosecuted. One of the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted. Or in Seattle, they went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. One of those people are going to be prosecuted.
But let me just ask
You might ask her that
y-
question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape.
Never heard that.
It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember
He did say
that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia,
that was outrageous.
the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say, we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back.
Yeah, he
It's
didn't
time to
do
turn the
that. That
page.
honestly.
And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people,
I wanna-
unlike J6.
we talked immigration here tonight. I do
And
want
the Republican
to
White
focus
House
on
right
this
now.
next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say that.
sarcastically.
But
You know
those-
that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls. And we have to have it. We have to have borders and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No judge
Republican,
looked at it.
and said
They
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread fraud.
standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump
for real. I'm like,
about this upcoming election.
who are these damn moderators? Because they low key look like they fighting for Kamal.
Just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters,
Right,
election
like, the
officials,
moderators,
he
you
says
know
will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law,
Yeah, for
which
sure.
will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as vice president of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country. He ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But
Mr.
he
President.
got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm
President,
okay with it
Mr.
because
President, your time is
I
up.
think we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages
Oh,
who are
Lord.
still being held, Americans
get it,
among
Israel.
them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters, because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately. And the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President
Okay.
Trump, how would
She
you
didn't have any criticism for Israel. None. Just point that
negotiate
out.
with Netanyahu
She
and
did.
also
She didn't say
Hamas in
shit
order
about
to
it.
get the hostages out and prevent the
She
killing
said
of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were
don't give
president,
a fuck about
Russia
the
would have
Palestinians.
never, ever.
I'm sorry, y'all. She said, I don't give a damn about the Palestinians. Israel could defend themselves.
I know Putin very well. He would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen.
And it is absolutely well known
Right.
that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear they can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential
Oh,
debate from the
shit.
National Constitution
Damn, that
Center
was my
right here
favorite.
in Philadelphia.
That's only the first half. My bad. I'm turning you up. Had to turn you down. That's the thing. Yeah. Hold on, let me try to make it small.
We still want that border. You know what the border? So you know what the border is? Oh my God, please check.
Of course. That's what I'm trying to figure out. They went through them. They went through the first couple topics quick as hell. I'm not tripping. I wonder how long this whole debate about to be. I wonder how long this whole debate about to be. It's been an hour.
And she's killing me. It's like every time they
Wait, hold on. Before you say that, yeah,
what?
I gotta tell my live that I got you on the phone. Hold on. My bad, y'all. I've been having my sister. She on the phone. She on FaceTime right now. She look crazy. She not trying to be on camera, but she's been watching the debate as well. So she's going to throw in her commentating as well. Go ahead. What was you saying?
Every time that they heard a question, it takes the question and reiterates it. Like,
Yeah.
she's not answering the question. It was how.
Yeah.
And how are you going to respond to such and such? Not what.
Or even why. Because when they asked her why her policies changed, she was talking about she said my values have stayed the same. But she didn't say nothing about why her policies, the policy support changed. My values have stayed the same. It's remained consistent. I bet. What the fuck? But the bad policies ain't.
How come when she does that, how come the moderators don't comment on it? Now,
Yeah, they sound like they get paid.
oh yeah, we get Trump. But when President Trump says, then they'll make a smart comment.
Right. Exactly.
We asked you about this. But why
Exactly.
did I say that to her? She's doing the same thing. Come on now.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I'm
I understand she said it was writing love letters to Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, come on. It's bad, of course.
And she gonna say she mentioned that they were free with friends with Putin. I mean, who cares? Honestly.
She's trying to make him out to be the big bad wolf. My bad, I'm about to pull up this other one too.
I'd much rather be friends with them than them, threaten us with moms, please. Okay? Because
exactly.
Kim Jong-un was quiet for them 4 years that Trump was president. He was real quiet.
Mm-hmm. And even with the dictatorship, how you feel about it? She said he wants to be a dictator. Even if that were the case, I've been hearing people making arguments that a dictatorship basically wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Really hard to have a dictatorship in America because the president only has so much power. Like you said, when they were talking about Roe versus Wade, he said people voted.
Right. Yeah.
He said we can talk about this all day, but the state voted. You guys went out and you guys voted, and that's what matters.
Yeah, that's a fact. He said the state got too much control at this point. It really wouldn't even matter.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, y'all keep talking about abortion like I just write a, I just write a bill right now and get it passed. No, it's up to your state.
Yeah.
And you guys have spoken, and so that's not going to change. Like he said, they love to bait that, to bait it. She got so into. That's all she got. She answered that question 3 times talking about abortion and giving examples of how women who have those situations where they're dealing with incest and things like that. It's like, girl, it don't even matter. That's what
they said. ABC. I didn't realize it was on ABC. They said ABC is a leftist source. That's why the moderators is kind of leaning her way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't even peep it was ABC.
That's why he don't be doing interviews with them. That's why
he said that. I think he said ABC, NBC. He said a couple networks. He don't really fuck with because of that.
He don't really do interviews with them. Mm-hmm. He only doing this interview because of the election. Yeah.
And they got. I'm gonna pull this up too because on Revolt they're doing a panel. I kind of want to hear what other black people saying. They're doing a panel reacting to it too. I don't want to see it.
Anybody
remember that girl who was talking about Trump? Who that speech you sent me?
Yeah.
She's up on this panel. She's speaking right now. I kind of want to see what
to just be told that to not have.
And I was agreeing with you as well. I agree that they do come in. In fact, we were me and my producer just last week at the DNC convention, and I sat there saying you need to talk more than just about abortion. I just wanted to pull up to make the point, like our brother said here, we're having our babies. So when who give a damn about what it's important what they're talking about, but white women don't tell us what to do. So I just want to be clear that black women have our babies, because that's another talking point y'all like talk about, the single black woman. So the single black woman with the baby. So the welfare queen. Now, so which one are the welfare queens, or we're not the welfare queens? So I just want to make the point that black
never called me that.
Yeah,
but
well, they do. They do.
White women don't.
They're pushing the issue.
White women hold high positions at these record companies, correct? You would know something about that, right? In which case, those are the people who pay these artists like Lotto, like Glorilla.
She's hella what's it called? I like her.
We're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's. Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
They
here,
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war? Yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war, because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. and that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not, again, appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations
thank
with the
you.
Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move
And
on.
these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr.
Oh,
President, you
shit.
recently
Here we
said of
go.
Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black." I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words. So I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were
I already knew she was about to go there. I already knew she was about to go there.
innocent. The Central Park
What the hell
Five
they talking about?
took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park Five, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty.
Okay, they ain't kill nobody. Okay.
But this,
Nor did they do anything.
this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country, one who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name calling. Let's turn the page.
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan
Exactly.
to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
She
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's
Thank you,
what
Mr.
her plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
President
respond.
Trump-
You just walked that dog all the way around from that blackness.
No, the
President
former
Trump-
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry.
I
We're
just
going
need
to
to
move on,
respond
Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be? Never going to be great. Or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it,
Vice
pass as
President
prologue
Harris,
in
thank
terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue
Well,
that's important for a
She
lot
made a
of
mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump-
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
The ABC News presidential debate will continue after this.
4-minute interlude.
This is a 4-minute interlude. Oh, hold up. I pull it up. Hold up. My bad. I pull it up. Because I'm interested in what she had to say too. I wanted to hear what she had to say. So I had to know.
All right, everybody. Last commercial break. I wish we had the behind the scenes so everybody can see what our conversation. This is a great conversation. No other network, they laughing. No other network has done it like this. We're going to get into immigration in our post show, so make sure you stick around because we are going to talk about everything. But I want to go to the sister at the mic. She's been waiting.
Everyone, I'm Kara, one of Kayla's best friends, also her old debate partner from Clark Atlanta University. But I'm on the opposite side, yes, CAU, but I'm on the opposite side of the political spectrum than Kayla. So I have two things that I want to say. The first being a question that I want you to ponder, but not necessarily answer. Donald Trump was found criminally liable for sexual assault against E. Jean Carroll, who actually sued him for sexual assault within the last few years. Additionally, his ex-wife, Ivana Trump, actually wrote about him.
I know they take it. They got like a crowd. This panel has like a crowd of shit, an audience, and then they let the audience come up and ask questions as well.
So why we want Donald Trump to have control?
That ain't got nothing to do with nothing, baby. Come on, stick to what it is. Yeah.
Prior to the last 4 years when Donald Trump was in office from 2020, from 2016.
This is just a commercial break, so I need to let them at least answer, and then we'll get quick answer. Why are you cool?
I just want to see what
grabbing about a pussy.
You want to go ahead?
I can't hear it.
Well, no, I want to hand to you because you don't believe in premarital sex, so it's going right to you.
Young Jock on the panel.
Oh, they don't want to touch that part. Okay, speak on it.
Indefensible.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is that we have a criminal running for president of the United States. And none of your black asses, if you had that many charges, would be able to run for anything. You wouldn't even be able to get a job at McDonald's. So let's just stop the games. Let's stop the BS. Donald Trump is a criminal. He has been found criminally liable in several courts.
You know what? And I hear what people say about that, but if that's the case, we need to indict the whole United States. Our whole government is filled with criminals. What the fuck are we talking about? They do commit crimes every day.
He said, I need
against Black America. What the fuck are we talking about here? Why are you just go, oh no, just that one. That one can't be. Nigga, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
Why are we even entertaining this? It's really insulting our.
Come on. That's why I'm like, come on.
I want to hear the Republican sister's comment about grabbing about a pee.
Well, first of all, context is important. And so when he's talking about, I'm just saying, because if we're being honest, if we're being real, it's a lot of black women in this room, right? And a lot of black women love rich men, right? So I hate to be the one to say it. I hate to be the one to say it. But in him saying, hey, you know, when you're rich, you can do whatever. You can just grab him by the pussy. Isn't that what the quote was? That is exactly what the quote was. Now, I'm sorry, but Jock, if you wanted to grab anybody in here by the pussy, none of these girls would tell you no. You don't have to. No.
Hold up. I don't know if I'm with that. I ain't with that. Wait a minute. She on track with that one. No, she on track with that. I don't know about that.
You and I have already made it clear that.
Nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. The hoes will let them do it. Come back.
Hold on, let's let John answer quick. Hold on, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. This one, hold on, wait a minute, girl. Hold on, wait a minute. No, let's let
Yeah, men say
let
that
me
they
not
agree.
say anybody in here.
What-
Let me not say hello, ma'am. No, you said it. Stand on business. You said it. Stand on business. Listen, no, you went too bad. You better watch what you say. Then watch your mouth. Let's let. No, she said she gonna learn to stand on business. Stand on business.
But that's still not going to deter me from that vote. So it's like I get why people bring that type of shit up, but also it's like that's not going to that wouldn't deter if I was voting for him. That wouldn't deter me from voting for him anyways. Because nigga, that's not what this is about. This is about policy and tangibles. What the fuck are we talking about? What are we talking about? You're feeding into emotionality with that. Like, oh, he's such a bad guy. Even with the Central Park 5 shit, of course, he's a white supremacist, but I know that already. But she's an anti-black want to be white supremacist. So what the fuck are we talking about here? What does that mean? What are we talking about? What are we doing?
Today, since you're gonna learn to stand on business, when?
Are you gonna moderate? Or are you a panelist?
Both of them. I'm gonna be all three of them. I'm gonna be all three of them. I'm gonna moderate.
I had a feeling. I knew they was gonna get into it. I gotta rewind it. I knew they was gonna get into it.
We're not gonna have a conversation.
It's like, I gotta turn it off. I knew they was gonna get into it though. I already seen that coming. I seen that coming. I ain't gonna hold you. I had a feeling them two was gonna kind of clash. I'm gonna turn that back on and rewind it.
Understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center.
Absolutely. Outrage, egregious, everything between. Yeah, the moderators was definitely paid actors. For sure. It was for sure on Kamal's side. Or trying to help her. That's insane. Yeah, they got a panel, so it's like two Republicans. I think the girl and the dude is Republican, and then Jock and the other guy is like Democrats or liberals, basically. Like conservatives versus liberals. That's kind of how they did it on that other one I watched too. Let me see, they still got them up. But that was pretty much what I expected to do.
Show got no service, or is it me?
Who, me? You can't hear me? You can't hear me? Let me hang up, call you that. Yeah, that was pretty much what I expected it to be, though. A lot of insulting, a lot of word salad. Hello? I might just send her an invite to this actually. Instead, I just told her not to put her camera on. Oh, she called me. My bad. Yeah, that was pretty much what I expected it to be. Though. Oh, hold on, they get this shit back up. That was pretty much what I expected it to be. Though a lot of words, a lot of guys. They didn't even. I'm mad they didn't go over any black issues for real. They didn't even go over the whole. I mean, they touched on her being black, but they didn't even go over like a hate crime bill, reparations. They didn't even go over how Black Americans will be affected. I mean, he brought up how Black Americans will be affected by the how Black Americans will be affected by hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. You on the stream, baby, I was trying to put that debate on the other one too. Hold up. Let me see, how can I do this?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Say something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I wanted to see if I can still hear you. Okay, cool. I'm gonna play some of this unless you want to say something right quick before I play it.
No, I want to hear. I want to hear what they arguing about.
Okay, kid, me too.
Oh, they got Jock on the panel?
Yeah, they got some Jock a bit.
Okay.
Well, it's nothing wrong, but it makes it hard to communicate.
No, we'll get through it.
Yeah, we will.
This is what family do. Let me speak to this.
True indeed.
Let me speak to this. If people can argue about who's the best rapper, if people can argue about who peed on who, if people can argue about who dated who, we can absolutely. And I want family to understand this. I want to be clear about this. We can. This is family. I literally asked Revolt. Let's make sure we bring black Republicans, not just Republicans, but Trumpers, all the way on the left, all the way on the right, all the way on the left. We have got to be okay with chaos. And we let me just say this, brother. We have got to be okay with having a difference of opinion. We're gonna turn it all the way up and turn it down and turn it up, just like we hug, we chill, we cool. This is good. It is good. Look how they do in Britain. They yell, holler, scream, throw chairs. It is good for us to sort this out because organized chaos and having this conversation is actually how we solve problems. We just like playing dominoes and talking loud.
No, I would just like to add, now, if we could find just a more streamlined way to actually execute this moment opposed to yelling, because I'm keeping it 100. I would much more rather be yelling and be passionate about these conversations that's going to live on for years and decades for our children and the people that we leave in our legacies too, opposed to me yelling if LeBron or Kobe or Jordan is the best. I do feel like this is a more fulfilling conversation. It's more healthy, but I'm trying to get into it because it's so chaotic, but I love it.
Right.
I love it. I'm here.
What was the chaos?
I do want to speak to the solution because what Young Jock is saying is we got to get to the solution. And I just want to put this out. I train thousands of people every year. thousands of people every year to be organizers, to be candidates, to be operatives. This brother running for office. You have to be on the ground in order to do it. This brother's in the community. Are you not? You talk about it in the community all the time. This is in the community. Everybody in this room is an activist, an organizer at some level in the community. So we are working towards a solution just because of the time and because we're responding to, you know, in real time what they're saying. We have to deal it in pockets, just like a track. We just doing just a track and feature every now and then. But make no mistake about it, that revolt, and hopefully we continue to have these conversations, which is why we're here. We can continue to flush out these solutions. So it's not that we're not getting towards solution. We're just having a good old-fashioned rap battle. That's all. And ain't nothing wrong with it. And hip-hop, literally hip-hop, somebody asked in the comments, why is Young Jock here? And I just checked somebody in the comments and said, you got every right to be here. First of all, Revolt is a hip hop network. Let's get that straight. So if anything, we in your house. So because I want to let you know how I defended you. Why is Young Jock? Well, first of all, you a human like anybody else. So let's first get that straight. Nobody get to decide who should be here and who should not be here. Rappers, literally, you've been telling the story from the beginning of time. It's like a jungle sometime, made me wonder how I keep from going under. Rap literally tells our story.
Can I tell them something?
Yes, you can.
I'm socially activated at this point in my life. Just 2 weekends ago, I teamed up with my brother, Tory 100, Mr. Ray Daniels, P from QC, Luda, Jermaine Dupri, and we just gave out 1,000 laptops to our inner city youth on the South Side for Southside Day at the Lake. So, and I'm not doing that for clout. I'm just saying this is my footing in the game. It's a receipt. It's a footprint. You know, and I appreciate when people ask those types of questions because it creates a friction, it creates a conflict, and that's the only way we're gonna do something. You know, they say iron sharpens iron. You gotta ask those tough questions, even if it ain't a tough question. Why he there? Because I'm acting.
Yeah, I guess he's a Democrat, but I'm trying to figure out why they didn't get like a political speaker instead. Because they got him. They said Brad sitting beside him is running for something, governor or something like that. But why wouldn't they have why him? Because even I don't know about bro on the other side. But they talking about he's an activist too, but Jock is like, that's not really his realm. So why would they have him up here? Why would they have him on this panel?
Even if you wasn't activated. See, my job being the hood was to go get people who's not activated. So nobody was, since we got Christian folk, if you're not a Christian, then don't worry about it. But it's about walking among the people that are not activated. So when I was in the streets yesterday in the land, I'm talking to the brothers literally homeless who are under the bridge. We got to get them in the fold. Anybody can talk to their own choir, but who can go bring people to go follow them up the hill? So we want to be clear that this space is for those who are activated and non-activated, because that's Trump's beyond. Here's where I'll give Trump campaign some credit. They follow the what do they call it, the lost man or the unspoken man? What do they call it on your side? The forgotten man. Where they literally go and say, let me strategically peel off 1-2%. Let me go and get Ice Square Vizzo in Detroit to peel off 1 or 2%. You have people online saying, oh, why they got Ice Square? He got clout in Detroit. So while you ignoring that rapper in Detroit and saying, oh, he don't know what he's talking about, that 1 and 2%, the Trump campaign has been very strategic, whether y'all like it or not. They've been very strategic talking to those brothers that are not getting talked to. So we want to be clear that the non-activated people are important, and we want them here too, and we're glad to have you.
3.6 million people listen to me every morning. From 6 to 10 on my platform. So I'm happy to be here, man.
We appreciate it, brother.
I'm confused.
For those laptops, I know. For those kids,
I'm confused. Where's the relevancy?
I'm like, I don't.
Just watch who you.
They got
give,
topics. I don't.
Who you're trying to knock and who you give respect to, because those are resources that you didn't have to do, but you did it because you've always been a real one. And so we, as a community, we appreciate you, and you should be, if anything, one of the first people to speak, because when people aren't looking, you're still working for us. And I do want to say this, and this is, I mean, Tez, I know you said one thing. You said, "Hey, you know, you sit next to a big dog. You sit next to a big dog." But out of that whole stage right there, if Trump wins, only one of y'all going to the White House, and that's Michaela right there. And so we got to be honest on what we got to know. We have to know. No, what I'm saying is, hold on. Out of the whole crowd, only one person. Hold on, let me just. That's and this is why. The black people, and when it comes down to finish your comment, baby. When it comes down to a divide,
focus on
when it comes down to a divide in our community. This is why, because we're talking about everybody being so politically correct instead of in 4 years, what are we going to get? You mentioned chaos. Black people have been in chaos way before this debate ever started. We're in chaos in the homeless shelters. We're in chaos when it comes to the Department of Labor. We're in chaos. The fact that Jock has to bring out laptops for the kids because there's not enough resources in our community.
Right.
And so when we have a sister with a different opinion than ours, it's about giving that respect. And the fact
So
that
hold on, wait a minute. I gotta
Can I-
wait. No, you're not. No, I'm gonna stop you because you're going on and on.
And-
This sister here is the one that invited this sister. So if I did not respect this sister, she wouldn't be sitting there. You're gonna put some respect on that. We're not gonna sit up here. No, you can get frustrated and look down and all of that. Relax. Well, we gotta make sure we're very clear. This platform was designed to bring this sister here. So if there was no respect for this sister, she wouldn't be here. So let's make sure we're using the right context, brother. I don't mind you making the point about one sister going. This is the only sister on this stage that want to go. So let's also make that clear, because I don't work in no White House. So I want to be clear about that. Everybody ain't trying to get a job in the White House. You can continue, but let's not act like she's not respected, because she is. We just have a difference of opinion.
when people are yelling about who's a big dog,
I am a big dog.
and what I'm saying is,
I'm a big dog.
out of this whole stage, only one person was standing on the stage with a presidential
And only
candidate.
one person on this stage flipped Michigan. And only one person on this stage organized
Oh,
over
gosh.
2,000
Can
people
she
every year.
shut up?
Only one person was a racial justice
Like,
representative. Only one, because remember, you don't want to do resumes, because the sister already said she don't have no resume. So you might want to back that. Yeah, you did. You said you don't have like resume. Sister, the senior public policy advisor for Ben Crump. Let's go on to the next.
Damn, just let him finish his thought.
I know you don't want to start doing the only sister receipts, because they but one sister served in the United States Air Force. Let's go on to the next person, because I don't like the passive aggressive diss, because I'll run these receipts down. So let's go on.
Oh gosh, you see what I'm saying? That's why black people can't do that. Because come on, now,
4 years from now, black people have to
You
decide
getting too
what they're
defensive.
going to get at the end of the year. At the end of the,
to a whole veteran,
and we're dealing with the dis, and we're
Oh.
dealing with the disrespect.
Oh God, you're a big dog.
What are black people going to get at the
She don't have the resume that I got. So go on to the next sister. I'm not gonna handle your passive aggressive diss.
We're big dogs.
That's all he's running these receipts down on you. You talking to a whole veteran. So baby, ain't nobody impressed working in the White House. I done turned it down. Ain't but one sister on here that on Fox News. Ain't but one that do 100 hits on Fox News. They don't call this sister, they call me.
Oh God. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't think any other network is arguing about this. Y'all don't even argue about the debate at this point. At this point, just go take it.
I love my sister. But
call it a day.
The real thing is going to be, we need to really talk about black people in 4 years. What are we going to get in 4 years? Let's not talk about the criminal. Let's not talk about the charges. 4 years. What are we going to?
Okay, why are you dismissing this brother though?
Black people in 4 years.
He didn't even say nothing. Like they need a new host.
Don't ever do that with me though. Don't ever do that with me.
I don't like
you'll
that.
get your friend embarrassed.
I don't like that.
Play with your little friends.
You embarrassing yourself, ma'am.
Yeah, I just want to speak to the people in the Christian community. As a Christian, I'm actually very disappointed in some of their point of views, including the abortion rights. Tell people, I've heard a couple of conversations, people saying that a man can't tell me what I need to do with my body. But as a Christian, I just feel like, how can you agree with something or someone who says, when the Lord had already said, do not murder? So how can you agree with somebody who said, yeah, let's go ahead and abort, even when they have came out the womb? You know what I'm saying? And then the lady back there who said, Kara, was that your name? Who said, how can we agree with someone who said, grab people by the vagina? Well, as a Christian, I'm agreeing with Trump, and I don't identify with necessarily either party, but this year I am Team Trump because of his policies. Most of the ones, when I go by line, they agree with Jesus' principles that's laid out in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be mad at someone who half of his principles is aligned with the Bible. I can't disagree with someone.
He's conservative. I mean, of course.
LGBTQIA plus agenda with men, including men, playing in women's sports. I can't agree with someone who's going to, do the abortion ban. Not do the abortion ban. I cannot agree with someone who's going to go ahead and take away our gun reform when in the Bible, Jesus is actually for us protecting ourselves.
And you even address that for real. Just like me and both have guns, so we're not taking away any guns. But she didn't go over the politics.
Okay, that is enough.
Okay, please. They don't want the people to have guns.
Yeah, nah.
Come on, sister, we're running out of time.
Okay, now she's just being rude.
The first thing God called us to do is love.
Correct.
And I think a lot of our speech, yes, 100%.
Love
has
thy
been
brother,
inflammatory, but he's called us to
not
love
other
and not
people.
judge.
Brother.
Second thing God gave us is free
So
will.
they be
It's
getting that
not up
wrong.
to us to
Not everybody your
decide
brother.
the cost of somebody's sins and how we're going to act out this person's punishment. So when you sit there and say that Trump's policies align with Jesus Christ, do you hear his speech? Do you hear his
Oh
speech
God,
though?
yes.
But God says in the Bible, judge a man by his fruits. His fruits. Hold on. Please don't talk over me. His fruits are
Why are you?
inflammatory.
Oh
His
God.
fruits are rotten. So please don't disrespect my Jesus Christ like that. Okay, my family was very.
That's not.
And let me also
You
go back just a
disrespecting
little
him.
bit more. My family was very
Black people
instrumental.
going to bed, bro.
And let me also say, my family was very instrumental. Is this mic on? Can people hear me?
It's crazy.
Okay.
Everybody's like, oh,
And I'm also saying this as a person whose family was instrumental in founding the AME Church.
Okay, but what? Who cares?
I don't know where your
tired of
relationship with
you.
God went wrong, and I'll retract that because I can't judge where you're. But I think you need to go back to the Bible a little bit more and have some one-on-one time with him.
Okay, but what are
to
you
really
talking
think
about?
whether the person that you're calling to represent this country actually represents Jesus Christ, or whether he's actually thwarting
He
Jesus'
mentioned
word.
Jesus.
You said that I'm disrespecting
He's
Jesus
one
Christ.
of the
Well,
only
what's
politicians who
disrespectful?
actually mentioned Jesus by his name.
I think
Honestly,
anybody who's a Christian can say he is the end all be all.
all of them too scared to say it.
He is the only one responsible to life. So what is disrespectful to the Lord Jesus Christ is him giving you a baby and giving you life and you dropping it at his feet saying, I don't want it because you don't want to control who you having sex with. If you do not want to have
Oh, girl, tell him
that you don't want a baby with, you don't need to be having sex with that person. Maybe you need to close your legs. Maybe that's what you need to do because you just don't want to be responsible with your body count. You want to use the I don't want a man tell me what to do with my body as an outlet and as an excuse. But that is not. When you telling me I'm disrespectful and I need to revisit, maybe you need to revisit.
I mean, we wanted to
I agree with that.
How is it irrelevant?
It's irrelevant, young lady. It's irrelevant because there's this such thing called separation between church and state. Your religious beliefs.
Trump doesn't want to separate church and state. He wants to bring it back.
Your
He
religious
said bring
beliefs
back
do
the
not
church. It's too
supersede
much.
my right
Trump
as
said,
an
fuck
American
that.
to not subscribe to that if I so choose. The government
He
does
said y'all
not
need to be
allow.
praying
The
in church.
government is
Too
not
many killings
inside
going on.
my bedroom.
Shooting
The
up
government
churches.
shouldn't be
Let's just
inside
bring it
your
back.
bedroom. What you do between you and God, you'll sort it out when you go seek salvation later. But for the government to try and sort that out through law makes no sense because this is not. Everyone in this country is not Christian.
Well, one
So
thing
It
about
makes
it,
sense to all the rest of the country. They don't. We don't. No other country separates church and state.
Please don't disrespect me or yourself. Okay?
She not.
Please do not.
The way you just did by saying
Why the Republicans not responding?
Even if you don't want to talk about church and state, it's still just logically speaking. I'm dead. That's what my brother just said.
Yeah, exactly.
But even if you're not talking about church and state, even just logically speaking, it is your responsibility. Like morally speaking, that is a fetus. Like that's a human. You know, I seen what you call it today. This dude debating. I'm gonna send it to you. You probably enjoy it. This guy, he was debating 20 woke college students or whatever.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
You see that?
I forgot his name. Yeah, the white guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the white guy. Yeah, he was debating.
Yeah.
I want to say woke. I'm gonna say liberal. Even though I think they named it woke, but yeah, they was up there debating abortion, and he's like, yeah, you know, he was talking about he's not abortion, and one of the girls got up there. They so extreme. These people get so delusional about this shit about
the
rights. Oh yeah, well, you know, technically it's not a baby, it's a fetus. He's like, okay, well, even if it's not, he's like, she was like, before
it's a cluster of cells.
Exactly, it's a cluster of cells. He was like, well, what species is that cluster of cells? Well, it's not a species yet because it's not a. I always about it. I'm being for real because if you take them cluster cells, do you really think scientists can't figure out what fucking species? Like, what are we doing here? They like move the goalposts.
I'm confused.
At the end of the day, we're talking about killing children, deleting babies. How the fuck are we fighting for?
Yes.
Fighting for solutions to prevent.
Yes.
That? What the fuck are we talking about? Like,
yes.
Okay, man, telling me what the fuck? Who the hell she be chastising? Who the fuck I need to be mad at about?
Okay.
Motherfucking body.
That's crazy.
What the fuck?
That is crazy.
What is going on?
In fairness,
But
the Bible does say you are supposed
Yeah.
to love God out loud.
I
So
got
we
it.
cannot
No problem.
chastise her
We're
for
not.
feeling
We're
like
just
her
moving
vote
on.
should be
Yeah,
reflective
now we're
on her
just
faith.
moving on. Yeah, we're just
And
moving
I
on.
understood you, and I wanted to make sure everybody else
y'all like
understood.
separation of church and state, though.
Well,
So
501c3s
we just
went
want to
ahead
move
and put
on. We
church
just
and
want to
states
move on
and
to
bed
the next.
together. So
We just want to move on to the
unless
next.
churches want to get rid of their
Excuse me,
tax
Deaconess is
exemption,
talking.
but the church
Oh my
exemption dollars
God.
came up on the
She's a
government.
terrible
So unless
host.
they want to get rid of their
Sis,
tax
so they
exemption,
don't like law and
they're
order.
gonna
Do
be
y'all like law and order or not?
I'm just saying,
So sis, brother, we want to move on to the next. Again, y'all
What's the
make sure
point
y'all
of
share a
having
vote.
people with
We
different
want to. I just
opinions
want to be clear.
if
We
nobody
want to
can
be able
talk?
to have
Exactly.
longer conversations,
We talking
be
about
able to
inviting
have these
people in.
conversations,
We
but
inviting people
unfortunately, we
in.
cannot just spend all night on one thing. We want to get to immigration. I want to get your comment, but we want to play a quick clip on immigration because we got to switch. We got to switch conversations. Take a listen.
As I started off the segment, I said white supremacist culture will
Tariq.
weaponize them. I always put the blame on white supremacist culture because they use immigration as a form to undermine us.
Well, for a country that claims to be a nation of immigrants, you would think it'd be an easier process for Congress to make it where people can go from being undocumented citizens to being documented ones, right?
It is a slap in the face that we as citizens of the United States of America do not have the resources and support, but you're going to bring people who are not citizens here in our community, in our buildings that we pay taxes for, that you took away from us.
Most of the immigrants I know that came here have come from absolutely nothing and have never accepted handouts. So while you're sitting here talking all of this nonsense about how these migrants literally are taking everything from you, understand that's not going to make your life better.
Well, that's because they country don't give no handout.
So,
And they all accepted handouts.
But they ain't accepting handouts. They literally just crossed the border.
First of all, they're black immigrants. So the idea that Donald Trump is questioning VP Harris's race, Jamaicans are some of the blackest people I know. So let's start with that.
Your ass up.
Also, I think it's important that when we're talking about immigration, there's several things that's wrong with immigration.
Jamaicans, the blackest people I know.
One, the Republican Party.
Niggas, so what are you, nigga? What are you?
They like to pit people against one another. And so they use people coming here from other countries that they have intentionally destabilized, right? Why are these people coming to America? And it's Democrats too. Under Democratic administrations, U.S. foreign policy causes people from Central and South America to come here because we have destabilized their countries intentionally. Go all the way back to Ronald Reagan. Okay,
so they just let people out the prison in Venezuela because we destabilized them. That's why.
People here. Well,
it was us. Yep, it was us.
And wouldn't go stirring up shit in other people's countries. Those people would probably stay where they were at.
Oh, it's us. They're gonna blame. Okay, wow.
As it relates to immigration, I think it's a really, I think it's a really, really funny subject, right? The very folks that say year over year that they can't give resources, right, or that, reparations and everything else to Black Americans in all the blue cities across America, they found a way to give immigrants, illegal immigrants, hundreds of millions of dollars in cities like Chicago. Most recently, in states like California, the state Senate passed a bill to grant 0% interest loans, zero down, plus $150,000, I believe it's a tax credit. The reality in this situation is that there is a group of folks that, under the Biden-Harris administration, have been brought into this country to offset the vote.
Yep.
And that is a legitimate issue for Black Americans today, and we need to deal with it. And oh, by the way, in the process of that, we've got undocumented terrorists that have put our nation at risk. I have a legitimate issue with that.
Finally, it's facts.
Well, I want to piggyback off
terrorist agency.
Yeah, but now we're dealing with a buffer class of white supremacists. We're dealing with a buffer class of white supremacists, and that's how the left wanted to deflect is, oh, well, it's white, it's the racist fault that they're coming over here. So we have to deal with the terrorist racists. But baby, they're bringing in subclasses to go against us. That's what they was talking about in that panel. It's going to be a black and brown war. This is a subclass of a buffer class of white supremacists they're trying to bring in. Why do you think most of them are military age men?
Yes,
that's
but
not
the thing is that Black people know how to stay on top Like, but we have to understand on topic. Why do we even give a damn about that supremacy? We do rather supremacy that affects us. We don't give a fuck about what's going on over there.
Like for real.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, serious.
We don't close the door. We got a lot of shit going on in this room.
No, we gotta
don't
focus
let
on
nobody else in.
For real. Nah, for real.
Exactly.
For real.
We don't give a
We
damn
gotta
about what y'all
focus
got going on in y'all country.
Yeah. Nigga, come on,
We
Empress.
suppress it here.
You cannot outrun white supremacy. So although white supremacy may be the reason why you're trying to flee, baby, you can't flee it because you're coming here and dealing with another version of it. What are we talking about? You need to fight your ass here because Black Americans, we've been fighting for 400 years. I don't want to hear shit about no goddamn corruption in your country.
Thank you. And we did not. And we did not revolutionize for them to benefit off of our sweat and tears. Sorry.
Exactly.
That ain't right. And our tax dollars. The fuck?
Exactly.
Every single one of those illegals who can get out there and vote is gonna go vote.
Well, when we have more true,
they're not U.S. citizens.
Yeah. They're literally voting in our elections.
But I do
to make them citizens.
Not even just make them citizens. They're getting IDs as soon as they get over here.
Yes.
Are they illegal or are they not?
They're illegal.
They're fast
and they're voting in our
It can't be
elections.
one or the other. They got to be. Are they illegal or not?
Citizens
So
or not?
right
So should
now,
they be citizens
but no,
or not?
we're talking about this election right now.
They're forgetting it's been 3 years. Most of them have IDs and work authorization cards already.
Hold on, guys. Foster care in which state?
California. The same California that is giving $150,000
can I ask you
to
this?
illegal migrants. But if my
0%,
sister,
zero
who
down.
just aged out of foster care
But they
2
wanna
years
give
ago,
you
she wasn't
Hold on,
getting that.
wait a minute. I agree with giving black Americans the money first, but I do want to ask you this because again, this is where this Republican talking point always gets me confused. You were aged out at what age?
No, I didn't age out. I was adopted. I'm talking about the people who don't.
Okay,
who
but
do
when you
age
said
out.
wasn't born, didn't ask to be born in the situation they
Yeah,
were
like my mom was on crack and my dad was in and out of prison.
Right.
That's not
So-
a situation I should have to pay for yet for whatever
That's right,
reason.
but
the
I also-
government didn't feel bad enough for me to give me or my family those resources yet. And then leave immigrants.
Ma'am.
That's a point.
Ma'am.
Let her
I
answer the
just wanna
question.
know, when I hear the Republican talking point, I just want to know when they say pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
I did
when
that.
they say I didn't. Let me finish.
Oh,
I'm talking about people that didn't. People that were
Born.
born with incarcerated parents. People that are
Mhm.
born in destitute situations. Because your brother would always say you have an opportunity to get. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, what do you say to the Republican that says that despite the situation you were born in, because none of that is systematic, none of it matters. I'm giving the opposing side. None of it matters. Pull yourself up by the bootstrap. You're not a victim. Don't be a victim. Don't cry. What is your answer to a lot of conservatives that say, regardless of the situation you were born in, that you didn't ask to be born in? I'm not talking about immigration. I'm talking about
Well,
Black
she's
Americans.
sitting right
What
beside
is
you,
your
ma'am.
answer
So
to
there
that?
go your
Because
answer
Republicans
right
say all
there.
the time to stop being a victim and to pull yourself
I
up by the
genuinely
bootstraps.
believe that once you stop believing that everything is set up against you and that you can't win,
But
you
just
will
a minute
win.
ago, you said it was set up
Exactly.
against you because they didn't ask to be born in the situation.
They were asked to be born into this situation, yet for whatever reason, they're not offered the same resources that
But I'm not
somebody
talking
else
the
who
resources.
also.
The conservatives say
I'm
pull
listening.
yourself up by the bootstrap. They say don't worry
Oh,
about resources.
God.
Okay,
Conservatives say
so-
don't worry about resources. They say don't worry about it, regardless if the parent was
with the
born on
Democrats
crack.
being in power, ma'am,
I'm gonna
again,
ask
we're
you that.
talking
I
about
asked you what's your
context.
we're talking about context.
She's very combative.
Conservatives say all the time.
Pull yourself up by the
including
bootstraps,
this
correct?
brother.
Correct.
Pull yourself.
Okay.
So I'm
and
saying
I'm saying if
regardless
the
of whose
Democrats are
daddy was
willing
on
to help
crack,
these people pull themselves
I'm
up by
not-
the
I didn't
bootstraps,
ask you that.
they should be willing to help others
That's
pull
right,
themselves
but
up
I
by the
didn't
bootstraps.
ask you that.
Now, this isn't a Republican talking
I
point because
asked you.
Republicans wouldn't give it to anybody.
Right, I know.
Okay, so there's that. I came up, I didn't have to get any of that. And yet I walked into a 6-figure job.
Yeah.
I dropped out of college and did the same thing,
Yeah.
raising my dollar by myself.
Yeah.
I don't believe that telling yourself things aren't going to work out for me or, oh my God,
not
I
about
have messed
telling them.
up. It's
I'm just-
once you believe that, that is your
I'm
life.
not talking about believe.
You tell
I'm talking
yourself,
about-
I'm going to win. I'm
Right.
going to win.
We
You're
got
gonna
that,
win.
but I'm just saying people that born. I just want to see your opinion on people that born into.
I went to the
destitute
illustrious Clark
situations.
Atlanta University
Yeah.
and they told me to
You
find
do.
a way or make one.
Right.
So anybody
I
born in
believe-
any
I believe in
situation
that.
will do just
Then
that.
there ain't no point in talking about that destitute situation.
It is.
Let's move on.
Because right now people are
Let's
getting
move on.
allocated resources
Let's let
and we
it
have
move.
people who
No,
need
but
those
the
resources.
conservatives say
We're
you don't
talking
need the
about the fact that we're not prioritizing
Let's
American
let Young
citizens.
John. No, but that
We're
wasn't.
talking
This is
about
where they
we're
have
not
moderators.
prioritizing
She's being
American
moderated.
At the
citizens.
beginning of what I said, I believe it should go to American citizens first. I said that, ma'am.
Okay,
I just
so
asked you
I'm
what was
pointing
your
out the fact
response.
that when we're talking about immigration, we understand that
But that wasn't what
Republicans
I
would
asked
not
you.
give out these resources.
That's all I wanted you
My
to say.
point is Democrats are only
That's all
proposing
I
that these
asked you.
resources go to a
Sis.
certain group, and Black people need to pay
Ma'am.
attention to the fact that y'all won't get those
Ma'am.
resources.
Ma'am.
That's the point. Y'all go ahead
We said that it's not about right or wrong.
It is right.
No, it's not.
It is
I just
right.
want to know.
Black people won't get those resources, and therefore you should not vote for a Democrat who will allow foster children, veterans who lost limbs fighting for this country, veterans like you and this man here, not get those resources.
We agree. Girl, relax.
So if Democrats are giving them out,
you don't relax.
then why are Democrats giving them to black people?
No Democrats. I asked
why
what was your
giving them to black
Is
people?
something wrong with it?
No,
There's something wrong with it.
Y'all just trying to switch it to make it seem like something's wrong with me when all I'm trying to do is point out the fact that black people are not being prioritized in the administration.
Thank you.
About what Republicans are doing for us. What are Democrats doing for y'all? Besides putting you last.
Nobody asked you that.
Thank you.
Nobody asked you that. What I'm asking you now is to let young
please go ahead and share your thoughts.
I'm asking to share your thoughts. I didn't ask you any of that. Girl, relax.
I had to put it in there because
you don't want to ask her that.
And I wanted to ask you a simple question. You the one that was at Chick-fil-A, wasn't you?
No, yeah, it was me.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
What does that mean?
Don't be shady like that, Taz.
No, I
Don't
just
be
want to know.
shady.
Why y'all can't ask a simple question? What's wrong with it?
All right.
Let us finish.
Context, that's actually went viral. She took a picture with Donald Trump, like hugged up on the shit. He visited Chick-fil-A.
Relax.
But people try to associate Chick-fil-A.
No, I asked because I wanted to make sure there was one because you was in there.
But I was also the girl who spoke at the rally. I was also
and so was I.
You know, I'm also the girl who mobilizes
Then run the
HBCU
receipts.
students every year. So I'm also the one who provides internships and jobs to these kids.
I don't like her.
Stop acting like all I am is a girl that showed up at Chick-fil-A.
Do you want to do the receipts?
We need to meet a president, and it happens to be a
This is too ghetto and chaos. This is ghetto and chaotic. Like I've never.
Can you
can I make my own decision?
If I ran into Trump at a gas station, I would have been just as excited. So trying to act like
you ride for Trump, we get it. We get it.
Or
You don't be in the White
regardless of who it is.
They are literally asking you to stop.
They didn't ask you to stop.
He's so intimidated by her.
That's the problem.
She is so intimidated by her intelligence.
So
we should be going back and forth with the moderator. But
No, actually, you should.
it's okay.
Actually, you
I didn't see
should.
that happen at the debate show, but okay.
All right.
There's some things we can all align.
No, respectfully, right? When I first got the opportunity to talk,
I would get up and leave.
From the concept of us, being passionate about what we believe in our beliefs, and the simplest assessment that I could come up with tonight from being back in the green room watching y'all before I got out here, I realized we all get riled up for both of these parties, right? And the only time I seen everybody calm down and all that shit subside, where we could talk like adults and actually listen, is when we all realized ain't nobody really did shit for us when it comes to reparations. And that's when y'all all got quiet. When you start, when y'all start talking about these immigrants getting it all, they're getting reparations.
So
really, basically.
He don't believe in reparations.
But okay, even if he doesn't, I noticed the room, the air changed, the climate immediately. He got still for a second, like, oh, now everybody agreed. Ain't neither side done any of that for any of us.
But he don't believe in reparations.
So I started to realize that
Gotta go.
this is where the divisiveness comes in at. At that one moment when we all came to this point of realizing that ain't nobody got no reparations in this room. Nobody look like us. But it don't matter if he believe in it or not. I noticed that everybody in the room was like, oh shit. Everybody else did, but we ain't. So are we all getting played on either side of it?
But Jock, they never say, no, this is important, because this is why we keep, me and this brother dance and do this all the time.
I see.
We do this all the time. I don't have no problem saying Democrats say shit, Republicans say shit. My problem with a lot of, because I'm independent, but my problem with a lot of Republicans is they never acknowledge that Republicans also, that's not what he's saying.
Okay.
They're not saying that, oh, we don't get what we want from either party. They're saying, which is why I invited them here, to stomp down hard for Trump. They are saying that the Republican Party is better. They are saying that Trump is better. They are saying, this brother said, Democrats, I admit, Democrats don't do what they should do. It's usually on this side of the aisle where they actually say, we don't do both sides. On this side, you do not get acknowledgement on what Republicans don't do. You heard the brother proud to say, ain't nobody gonna get to be in the big house but baby, that ain't no flex. That ain't no flex. Ain't nobody trying to be in the house. I'm in the field all day. So the point,
Oh my God. Go back to the field so we can have a real debate.
I know you want a peaceful, calm
Go to the field right now.
That's just not where we are.
Peaceful and calm. I sat here and I watched when y'all started talking about the immigrants and people, no matter what side you on, red or blue, everybody felt the same it was the same context of like saying, all these people getting it, we still ain't got.
Yeah.
So then wait,
But
but then
he say Republicans
once that point got pushed off of this little table right here, off the little coffee table, it dissipated. Shit went right back up because it went back to going to opposing side.
I know, but Jack, what I'm trying to tell you is,
because I think there's some things
he
that
believes
we
that
gotta agree to.
Republicans, they believe that Republicans is the way.
It's safe to say that you're much further leaning left than I am. Absolutely. I think there are some things that he and I can agree to, and that's where we need to go in our community. We don't have to agree on all things, but we do need to start finding some alignment. And so here's where I would say, that brother just sat here and told me that his parents immigrated to this country and took no handouts.
He's a fucking immigrant.
And my father immigrated to this country and did the same.
What the fuck?
And fast food didn't exist for my mother. They both went to HBCUs. They both worked 2 jobs. They both put themselves through school, and they both did a great job with me, my 2 sisters, bought homes, multiple homes, sold them, and built wealth. And it sounds like to me, your parents, who had the same work ethic, turned you into a relatively, I'm gonna use the word successful or productive citizen in this country. Sure. And so, irregardless of whether I'm on the left or I'm in the right, we got to do a better job. What this brother was saying earlier, finding some alignment. Well, hold on. Finding some alignment, because if this young lady goes to the White House, or Ted's you the one, and you go into the White House, and the rest of us don't.
Be clear about that.
And the rest of us don't. What we need in our community is Black Americans that are going to represent the concerns of all Black Americans, not just those on the left. Or the right, or independent.
The problem that we have every single time is you never talk about what the Republicans do wrong. And I'm going to keep pressing you that all the time, because although he said, yes, his parents picked himself up by the bootstrap, he's also a Democrat that believes in a safety net to give the resources to those who were born in difficult situations. And we've had this conversation. No, but we've had this conversation, and we ain't going to sit up here and play no game because Young Jock got y'all feeling good about, oh man, we all aligned. We all aligned that we're not getting what we're supposed to get. But brother, each and every time you still don't say that Republicans do something wrong. That's all.
Listen, can I jump in?
I done got beat up in this debate all night. Yeah, man.
Ask a question. Actually, a couple of things. One, I think it's a huge misnomer that all immigrants are Latinx, right? I think it's a lot of African people of African descent also make up a large part of the immigrant population, just like you just said, and just like he's already spoken to. So we are actually helping our own people when we help immigrants, right? Because if we're all people of African
but most
no.
no.
So we are helping our people when we help people of African descent.
They're mostly Latinx. Most of them are coming from Latin countries. Yeah, Africa. How long they got them fights over here? How much money they don't understand it. Most people who come over here, they don't take a plane. They're walking.
Just as many people of African descent that are immigrating into this country as well. The other thing I want to talk about though is
wait, hold on, brother. Wait, because he's really about to go in. So I want to show, just like for sake of Young Jock, because he really wants to be kumbaya. Y'all agree that y'all pulled up by the bootstraps. Immigrant, my parents wasn't no immigrants. So no, I'm just saying y'all agree. But this is where the disagreement comes into play. So it's cool. They agree. But the disagreement comes into play when we start talking about the solution. And it is okay to have a disagreement in the solution. We don't have to just stay right here and say we just agree to agree. No, when we start talking about the solution, that's where you're gonna see these brothers got different opinions. He gonna say, oh hell no, we not helping no immigrants over Black Americans. And this brother gonna say, no, there still needs to be, if he's a true Democrat, a safety net for those who cannot. Democrat socialist to the highest level. So explain your position so Young Jock can see that no, this is where the solution, the difference of opinion comes in the solution, and that is what politics is all about. So even though y'all agree that y'all pulled up by the bootstraps, what is your position when it comes to immigration and helping immigrants? Let's just put it on the table. We already know y'all disagree. I just want to hear his opinion.
Great. Yeah. So a couple of things. I think one, weaponizing local law enforcement to enforce immigration policy is wrong, right? Because we know that harkens back to the
He might just be immigrant. He might not be gay. He was going to be able to
matter like that. Whether you from Jamaica,
Girl, bye. He gay. Look at him shoes.
Exactly. Come on. Exactly, y'all. I ain't trying
we are stronger.
No, y'all.
We are opposed to one another. So I have been on record not supporting the laws that the Republicans have been trying to pass here in the state of Georgia around making sure that local law enforcement can jail undocumented people in the city of Atlanta and across the state of Georgia. Because one, we want to talk about money. Do you know how much money it costs to run these detention centers? Do you know how much money it costs to enforce these immigration laws on people who oftentimes the idea that people are coming to this country knowing their papers are not legit and they're going to come here and commit all these crimes is just ridiculous. Most immigrants are trying to what? Stay under the radar. If your parents are immigrants, what they say?
Come on now,
Listen,
they
we just
released prisons into our
They
country.
release prisoners, yeah. And I was wondering
because they already know
they try to stay under the radar. Duh, they try to sell drugs, not get caught like everybody else. Duh,
they have the undocumented
stay under the
status
radar.
by their name. And
ain't
so
nothing
I
women and
believe
children over there.
that we
That's
are
not the majority of people.
wasting
They
we're
like,
no way.
money over good by spending so much money on enforcing these immigration laws instead of creating a pathway for people to have citizenship.
No,
Well, that's where the
There's no way you going
maybe nice and quiet, but just that 1 2 minutes.
Now,
So
where's your
once we start
Instagram?
getting into the solution, that's where things.
it's what?
Go ahead.
This
No,
is
go ahead. Go ahead.
We talk about the resources and what it takes to run a penitentiary, right? Okay, that's absurd. Democrats said that $5 billion was too much to build a wall, and today we spent $450 billion on policies and programs and resources for migrants, and that pretty much sums it up.
That's a fact, though.
That pretty much sums it up.
You're talking about the
we
wall.
Can't complain about
You're talking
resources.
about the wall.
I don't hear anybody in our community challenging Clayton County right now relative to the budget as it relates to the prison.
Oh, me?
Nobody.
I went after him. I went after Victor Hill. I went after Victor Hill.
Can I have the floor?
Yeah, please.
I get it that liberal politicians are arguing the point.
But let's not say nobody. The brother just said he did.
People of these
Okay,
communities, the people of these communities not arguing about what's invested in the prison, but liberals will argue about the resources.
We can acknowledge it because you used the absolute. You said nobody. The brother said he did though.
They want to
You
argue about the resources that are needed in all types of programs, prisons, schools, et cetera, so forth and so on. But the people down on the ground, the people in Pittman Park and the dudes off Techwood, they not complaining. They not talking about how the prison is funded. The reality is that money flows back into liberal politicians' pockets, et cetera, so forth and so on. And it never makes it into improvements in these facilities. It doesn't make it into these kids' pockets, et cetera, so forth and so on. And that's why you're living in a blue city
Is that
as an
privately?
institutional Democrat.
Let me. So,
relax, brother.
If you know,
let him respond. Stop trying. No, wait, hold on. You
Yeah.
made your position. Let him respond. Let him respond.
Georgia,
Let him respond because he said nobody was challenging it, and you said you did. So let's respond.
One, to know me, Michaela knows this because she sees me down at City Hall.
This is my first time meeting you. Everybody
She
else.
sees me down at City Hall. She sees me down at Fulton County Commission, the largest county in the state of Georgia. They just tried to propose a $2 billion jail. And you know who came down there to speak about it? It was black folks, old black folks, young black folks who knew that if we were spending $2 billion on a new jail, that meant that they were going to defund senior services. That means that they were going to defund our hospitals. And guess what? This isn't a partisan issue because many of the people who proposed this were Democrats. They got D's by their name. And I had smoke for them too. Because if you're going to stand against black people, no matter what party you're affiliated with, you're going to have a problem with me.
So why did you say nobody?
The ones, the Democrats that are
You
pushing
said you got
for the
smoke
construction of a
bro.
prison
Oh,
in
I
the state
hate this
are the
shit,
same
bro.
Democrats that
Bro,
benefit set
oh,
aside associated with the construction of that prison.
Sir, hold on, wait a minute.
The reality is they want to push money into building prisons because it makes money.
Stop talking loud. We got to acknowledge this brother work because you sat up here and said nobody said anything. And
Okay, why do you keep
just told
mentioning?
you that he did.
No,
So
he's
let's
saying
just
that
acknowledge.
black folks went down
You
and
said
lobbied
nobody.
for the funds for a prison,
see, this
and
is
I'm
where
saying
you're
nobody. None of the people in those communities are asking.
Lobbied against
black politicians in the Democrat Party that got construction companies and so forth are pushing to set aside I'm in the construction industry.
Brother, you ain't the only one doing the work.
It's about running that money right back through the circle.
I just want to know why the brother can't acknowledge your work.
Listen.
Why can't acknowledge your work though?
Listen. The problem is
You know what I mean? You get paid to it. You really got to give like that.
I understand that we sometimes speak in absolute and hyperbole, right? I know that was an SAT word I dropped down. It's cool. But sometimes we gotta speak, we just gotta speak to the facts and we gotta speak to the rock.
Boy, you up there with
the matter is that
people. You don't shut the
our
fuck up.
mayor
He's not the only one with a
city
degree.
council our county commission, who are Democrats and Republicans, pushed to expand the prison industrial complex in the city of Atlanta. That was bipartisan support, right?
There.
In Georgia, who has been mostly under Republican leadership, and even when it was Democrats, they were Dixiecrats, so they were Republicans for all intents and purposes. They have governed a budget where we spent $8.1 billion on police, prisons, and jails. We don't spend that on public education. We don't spend that on hospitals. We don't spend that on money and direct assistance to Black communities. We don't.
Okay.
And it's a Republican
They got my
issue,
girl
too.
over there
And
quiet.
so, to your point, Tess, this is sometimes my frustration with Trumpers, with Republicans, with conservatives, because I can call out the folks on the left.
That's right.
In fact, I spend more time fighting people on the left than I do on the right, because they're trying to out-Republican y'all.
Is that
right?
Boogie Man?
But the problem that I have with conservatives is that, particularly Black conservatives, is we can see as plain as day, Republicans will push an agenda that is not for Black people, and y'all will say, y'all will come up with every rhyme, reason, excuse, tap dance, this, that, and the third. Come on. Sometimes we gotta call a thing a thing.
She would not support a policy that was directed toward Black Americans, but she gave $25 to $50 million to Asian Americans.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
We talk.
Come on.
Yes.
Am I one of them Black Republicans?
You are not one of those Black.
And neither am I.
You are not.
So to make Young Job happy, we got two people where they agree. All we saying is, because Young Job gotta be happy. We gotta move to the immunity. We gotta move on. All I'm saying is, we want to see that, or at least me, more in the public space. You know, the
difficult thing.
I mean, I'm not as public
Sometimes
as
you have
everybody.
less than a
Like, I'm
second
not a
to
No,
make
we're talking about right now.
life and
Yeah,
death decision, and sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake. They're going to be indemnified. We're going to pay them for their costs, for their lawyers. You know, policemen have to go, in many cases, hire a lawyer to protect themselves. The state doesn't want to get involved. These people are crazy. When they're standing there in front of a department store that's being looted by 400, mostly kids, but other people too, and they want to do something so badly, but they're told not to because there's liability. They're not going to have any more liability. They're going to do their job. They're going to stop it.
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from hot steaming water?
Yeah. What are they showing, man?
That's what happened to Sonya Macy. They showing Sonya Macy.
Oh, okay.
That's to get you upset.
I got COVID, man. I can't breathe.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please listen to me.
Is he going to jail? He's under arrest right now for forgery. Okay. Can we figure out what's going on?
We've had this conversation.
Oh, immunity.
before.
That's what they about to say.
I know the Republican talking point is they already got immunity, but Donald Trump has said that he believes in federal immunity. Want to get your thoughts on it? Let's go with Jock first, because we don't have y'all take over and then Jock sit up in one. So let him be the cooler head.
Man, look,
on immunity.
So you know me, like I'm a good guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't get in a lot of trouble at all, for real. And I've seen police handle me so crazy sometimes, man. And it's just like they got to be held accountable. Just immunity because you've gone through an academy, you made a pledge, you know what I'm saying, an oath to the community and to be a protector and a servant of the community. That's great. I think they can't be federally charged. Good policing. I applaud it. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100. Some people are just
like
some people need governing. Period. Point blank. A lot of us do. Let's just be for real. So when you get a good police officer, it's one thing. But when you like myself, I've been in a situation where I've been snatched out the car, thrown right into this. These two right here, this right here, these two, this come from handcuffs. They were looking for my brother. I had nothing to do with nothing going on. I still got thrown into the bushes. I got beat up. They tried to put a murder charge on me, right? Then they found out they had the wrong person. I still got charged with criminal disorderly conduct, which is a criminal charge. So I can't even go and get my firearm, my carry concealed permit because at that point, I can't now, but at that point, because it was a criminal charge. But I'm like, hey, so what's gonna happen? Y'all just beat me up and did all this to me. I still didn't get the charge taken away. I think sometimes, man, you gotta understand, when we start talking about immunity, Stephen A. He was just talking about what Tyreek Hill. And he said, well, all you had to do was roll up the window. He told you don't roll the window down. No, he told you don't roll the window, just leave the window down.
Well, Stephen A.
You looking at it on that end, but when you getting pulled over and the level of aggression is already here before, because they ain't treating you like they treating Tom.
No. Yeah.
Hi, hey, great. Just want to let you know you're speeding. I was like, you get your license. No, I ain't changed. They like walking up, their hand on the gun off rip. I just told a story today. Tell me I'm lying. I told the doctor, I told the police officer, hey man, listen, y'all got the wrong car that just sped past you. I said, I'm having twins right now. He said, you having twins? Right now? I said, yeah, I got to get there. He said, hold on. He called backup. Backup came. I'm like, why I call backup? Snatched me out of the car. Boom, threw me in handcuffs. I said, hey, why you doing that? You know what he said? Because I'm trying to save your life. Because I know that you have a real serious situation right now. I don't want you to do anything that goes against what we're telling you because you feel in your mind, you got to get to this hospital to see your twins be born and something happened, I kill you right here on the side of the expressway. And I looked at him like, damn, I ain't never see it like that. But, you know, I'm serious because it put me in a position where I was like, hey, man, but I wasn't finna do nothing to get killed or go to jail. He apologized. He said, man, I'm sorry. He didn't
Why did he
ground like that.
Well, he just leave me at the club, be going down.
You know what I'm saying?
So I want to see if you're gonna stand. So I want to see if you're gonna stand on business because I know your position with this. So let's run back what you said last time. As far as
I'm pro. Pro what? The police departments across America, the vast majority of the stops that happen on a day-to-day basis are correct. They are just, and vast majority of police officers across America are doing a great job in our communities and in others. That's it. These incidents that you see, like the one we just saw that they just had on the screen, are an issue. Okay, they are an issue, but they are exceptions, not the rule. And so, what we need, in my opinion, as a young Black Republican, and I disagree with a lot of other Republicans on this topic, is we need a right-sized approach to deal with these exceptions and hold those folks accountable.
Do you
and
say
so that's my opinion.
So what I asked you earlier about disproportion, you know how you like to give the disproportion facts on abortion?
Yeah, I went crazy.
Would you say that disproportionately, the exceptions that you're talking about, do they disproportionately affect Black men?
I would say that Black men are pulled over more disproportionately stereotyped and pulled over than any other group of folks in America. Yes, I would. We're not running from the truth.
No. But earlier you wouldn't. When I asked you that, remember we talked about that for like over an hour. You didn't want to like.
As it related to the other topic. We're probably not going to ever agree. But I would agree with you in this topic.
Just because, again, in the spirit of being bipartisan, it is not a Democrat or Republican issue.
Thank you.
The Democrats.
They say it is, though.
I don't believe
it's not.
Because I see every day how Democratic officials empower the police, make excuses for the police, don't prosecute the police.
Okay, that is a race issue.
On both sides. That's bipartisan.
The race issue.
So, like, I don't want to make this a Republican or Democrat issue because it is an American problem. It is America's problem. It is for both political parties. Because right now, you know, folks has smoked with Fani Willis for a variety of reasons, right? Around this Trump case. That actually wasn't my issue.
But can
my issue with DA Willis was all of the police officers who we know have killed people, like Deacon Holloman, a 62-year-old
but before we move, but before we move to goalposts, I want to know. Okay, but before we move to goalposts, I still want to know the answer to my question about Trump and saying that he would grant immunity to all police officers. What's your position on that?
I think that immunity granted to all police officers, it impacts.
No, but he said case to case situation.
And allowing them to do their jobs. I think that serves.
He said it would be
98 or 99%.
So should it be immunity for all federal police officers? Yes or no?
until we have a right
Y'all
sized
took
approach
it out
to
of
dealing with
Well,
context.
so the
exceptions.
answer is yes.
But we need to deal with exceptions in our community.
We got it, but the
No
answer
doubt.
is yes.
We
You
left out the
support-
part of the
you
interview though,
support-
where he also said there would be an ethics
No, I
board.
want to
so it's
get
not
I want to
automatic.
get a clear
Federal
answer.
immunity.
I want to get a
So I
clear
think the
answer
answer- so I
before you
think the
start
answer to your
talking.
question is yes.
Yes, you support. That's all I just wanted to get to know.
That, bro.
Yeah.
But I also said, don't get hung up on listen to everything I said.
Okay.
What I said was we need to find a right-sized approach for the exceptions. The vast majority of police officers need to be able to do their job free of red tape and other types of shenanigans that would distract from this conversation today.
So what makes it-
It's
what
taking
makes it
place
an
in places
exception?
like taking place in places like California.
What's an exception?
So,
What's
so
it- wait,
the
wait, wait,
police
so
So we just saw.
involved-
So
but
John,
the
so John,
police-
we just saw the young lady
They shot the
and
lady
got shot in her house.
in the house.
Right? We got to do something
Do
about
you
that.
make an exception for that?
Can we agree that there needs to be something that deals with that? I'm saying
But
we
he
need to
admitted that was
but what
wrong.
I'm saying is,
And
but
those
that
officers
is a
wouldn't
very small,
But what
that is
about
a
the
minute,
instances-
less than 1%
Speaking of
on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, now you're speaking of the minute percentage, right?
Yeah, man.
What about the stories that we don't see, that we haven't seen, that have been nobody ever
Can't
talked
talk about something we don't see though. We can talk about statistics,
realize
facts.
nobody want to talk about it, so they feel like they defeated. They can't win.
It's part of the reason why I wasn't a supporter of the Obama 21st Policing Act, because why? Body cameras so we can just see black folks getting killed on camera in HD. They don't stop anybody from getting killed.
Well, I disagree.
Well, I
with
think
that.
that would have,
They don't.
you know,
What actually stops people from being killed is a complete transformation of how we do public safety.
But we
It
need
needs to be more of us who's
we
not
need
body
body
officers.
But we
Because
need
cameras,
I didn't say that's the solution,
Need
but
body
that's a
cam.
part of. We got to have body cams,
But
brother.
we
got because that's the only way we're gonna see what
But
need to be
my
said.
challenge with that, Tez, is that we have allowed black politicians and white to pacify us and say, "Oh, okay, well, we got you body cameras." That reform
we still got more work to do.
and more
but we
black
want to be
people have
clear
been
about
killed.
Yeah.
More black people have been
we
killed by
still,
the police.
but brother,
since
we
the
still
body
got more
cameras have
work
been
to do.
around.
But we absolutely need the body cam. I just want to be clear about that. We got more work to do. We got more work to do. We need a right side approach. I just wanted to know, yes or no, do you support President Trump saying immunity for all police officers? It's just a simple yes or no. We can get to the solution.
Oh God, but that's not what he
Let's talk
said.
about what it is.
Come on,
Do you support?
I want to point out that we cut the clip short because it's not just automatic federal immunity for all officers in which all these officers can run and cause chaos in our streets. There will still be a board that they have to answer to. There will still be cases like Sonia Massey, which they talked about at that conference as well, in which he said those policemen were not doing their job and those policemen would not be eligible for federal immunity. So like what you said, we need to keep the body cameras because when we're talking about does this officer deserve immunity for whatever complaint has been risen against them, we can check the camera for that. And then once we've checked this footage, now we can take it to this board.
But do you agree they should get immunity? Yes or no? I just want to know that.
And the way that it was presented,
I'm just asking.
in the way I'm talking about federal immunity in the way that it's presented with the board, not automatic, just let cops do whatever they want, which is what the narrative
Exactly.
is. The actual policy is federal immunity, but there will be a process like there is with every.
I just wanted to know
that I can deal with that. Yes. And wait, when we talk, because John asked about what was an example. You think about, you see children walking around with black eyes and bloody clothes, and cops can't do anything about it because nobody said anything, or the child has not admitted that anything has happened to them. And that point, if that cop decides to break the law to save the life of a child, I am with that. And yes, they can be immune for whatever kidnapping charge the parent tries to rise against them for taking the child because you were not taking care of said child. And again, I've seen how horrible some parents are to their children.
That also should go before a board too. A police officer at that particular time is not judge, jury, and executor.
I will say
that's the
this,
problem.
though,
and
just
so
quickly.
let's be clear about that. Let's be clear about that.
Yes.
It's not up to because the same way we're saying that
Let
it should
them
go before
debate.
a board and decide immunity, not immunity. Also, in the case of child abuse as well, I was a guardian ad litem in Florida for a very long time. It's not up to the police officer to be judge, jury, and executor. So when you say, "Oh, I believe you can do whatever because you hurt that child and you should be," we don't know.
He should be able to take the child. But
because that's judge, jury, and executor, and that's
if the child has a black eye and blood stains coming at the bottom of the back of the clothes,
and if a black man get dragged out of the car and get shot because he didn't let the window down fast enough, you say that should go before a board. So let's go before a board.
It's gonna go before a board.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, if a black man kills anybody, he's gonna have to go before a jury as well. So I'm not understanding.
We got to wrap. We want to make
You
one
kill
comment.
anybody,
Either we going before the board or we not.
I want to clarify something.
Every time she talks is argument.
No, we're not.
One,
I don't want no
this,
police being judged here in
this
Exeter. That's why we
policy
got
that
the courts.
this policy that Trump is
You're not
talking
even
about,
good at
one, only extends to federal officers. Vast majority of police brutality cases take place with state and local police. So
Thank you.
if you want to see safer streets where you are not concerned about having the type of run-ins with the police that many Black people can talk about, it's a state and local issue,
That's
right?
what I was
The president
saying.
Brother,
can't-
wait a minute. Hold up. We know that.
Okay,
Hold
okay.
on.
No, everybody does
No,
not
I
know
know
that.
that, but no.
You know that.
No, but
Right.
we got to
Yeah,
be
I
clear though.
see.
When
Yeah.
you're talking about something from the federal level, that can also trickle down to the state and the local.
Sure.
So
state-
let's not because
but
when the
state-
sisters over here, thank you. No. Anytime, no. When you have somebody saying, "Let's get full immunity, let's be rougher with them, rough them up," that's a problem. Now you don't have to be
I'm
as clear
clear
because
on
you say
that.
you don't want body cam. I ain't never heard no progressive say
No,
that.
I said, also, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Also, what I said was body cameras are not enough.
Right.
If you're not going to
we don't need
prosecute the
them.
people,
Yeah, no.
if you're not going to
You did say
prosecute
that.
the people when we see someone Black being killed on film, what the fuck is the point of the body
But
cam?
we still need it though. No, I want the same page,
Really
but the way you
not.
presented it the first time,
Well,
was
that's
saying
why
you
I
don't
wanted to
stop
clarify.
it. No,
Thank
that's
you.
what
Because they said he had a
clarification is all
problem with
about.
football
Let's give some closing thoughts from our guests because we got to wrap up. We've been going way too long. Closing thoughts tonight on the actual debate.
You talk most of the time.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Yeah, on the actual debate, there's a person with a record of positive economic growth in this country. There's a person with a record that demonstrates that that his foreign policy works.
Yep.
And then there is a person that you just don't know where they stand. And over the last 3 or 4 years, that person and their counterpart hadn't produced any positive outcomes for our community, nor the larger American community. And I would just urge that everybody use logic rather than allowing the media or the news to manipulate them on the basis of their emotion.
Thank
That's
you.
my comment.
Okay.
She's a prime example of that.
All right. Well, I would hope that from this debate, everybody was able to really identify what issues each candidate stands on. I think that, it's important that everybody does their due research after this, especially hearing what the candidates had to say and which side they stand on and where the moderators said they flipped beforehand and what exactly was going on. I think the thing that everybody should take away from tonight is that context is important, whether it was what we talked about or what they were talking about on stage. But you heard, Kamala Harris keep mentioning Project 2025, and that has nothing to do with Trump. And so, you heard her say, you heard her keep skipping over the border issue, and she kept skipping over the migrant issue. And that should speak very loud to especially Black America as to why she can't speak to why you guys haven't been prioritized during her administration. You also heard her admit to how much she has been able to do, or heard her claim all that she has done during this administration. So I would ask that you all please stop making excuses for all the things that she hasn't done by saying she couldn't do them because she was the vice president. And so taking away from this debate, yes, I hope
That's
you guys
what I'm trying
think of all of
to
those
I
things
agree
and,
with that.
vote based off the facts
man.
and not, just somebody else's feelings.
She the vice president.
Republicans love talking about facts over feelings.
Like, why is she making promises?
I think
like,
people have to make
go
a
do
sound
something.
decision about what makes sense. Fact of the matter is, we have someone that's running for president who
she ain't
multiple
did
charges.
nothing. She not gonna do nothing.
He staged one of the first insurrections in the United States in modern history. If you were to engage in all of these criminal activity, would you be allowed to even have a job? Much
Who
less run for
cares?
president?
I'm like, nigga, this thing got nothing to do with nothing.
We gotta stop
Exactly.
making politics
Okay.
in America a reality.
So are
TV
everybody
show.
else in the White
Trump
House?
has
Who gives a
ushered
fuck?
that in.
Exactly.
He did what he did.
Also on the other side,
Come on, bro.
VP Harris
He running for
absolutely
president.
has problems.
He don't
Has
want
she
to
done
be
everything right?
LGBT.
No. Are there policies that we don't agree with her on? Yes. And when we're looking for stability, when we're looking for policy that we can actually disseminate, talk about, debate,
I don't think
she's the only one up there that's actually offered solid policies. She's the only one up there that has actually offered a plan.
No, Trump is
Nobody interrupt them. See,
Trump
this is
is
what
just-
y'all got to stop that.
Trump is
I'm
just-
like, nobody
If Trump
interrupted
don't
them when they
win,
gave
you
their
already know it's
closing thoughts. Stop
told
that.
that
I'm
it's
not
no-
talking about y'all. I'm talking about in the back. This is why, again, this is why
Oh,
nobody
yeah,
have
you do.
respect for y'all.
You do.
Let this
Her-
brother
her-
finish what he's saying.
That doesn't
Nobody did. No, it's important. We got to point that out. Nobody was hemming and hawing. No, nobody. Everybody let y'all get y'all Republican talking points off. So let him finish. No, I'm telling you to let him. I'm asking you to let him finish. No, but I'm asking you to let him finish. We get it. We know you for Trump. We got it.
We get
Let
it.
him
We
finish.
get it, sir.
We got it.
Sir.
They got your clock.
Sir.
They got your clock. We got it.
It's
He
fine.
barely let anybody
Fine.
talk. Tell somebody,
Listen,
shut up.
I don't have to. I recognize that some people have gotten into the snake oil of Donald Trump and has fallen underneath his spell. I have not. Some of us still have independent voices. With that being said, this election cycle, there's more on the ballot than just President of the United States. Here in the city of Atlanta, we have to elect a new at-large city council member. I'm looking forward to winning that election on November 5th because local government
I know that. I
many
know it
of
was
the things
Atlanta.
that we talked about, that we were so passionate about, state and local government is the ones that actually make the decision on whether those things move forward. So I remind people to be educated, to seek the facts. Don't just get one side of it. Find out all of the information and make an informed decision. And don't forget about your state and local offices on the ballot.
Good stuff, young doc. Give us the. We all agree.
Hey, here it is, man. Here it is. It is. You have to inform yourself, like you say. Knowledge is power. Hey, look, man, you got to be steadfast on trying to gain as much knowledge as you can.
Jack, it was actually a good idea to bring him because if not, they probably would have started throwing hands.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Policies on both sides. I know 100%
At least
of
he
the
was
policies
level-headed.
never gonna go through on either side, red or blue. It's not. It's just it never happens that way. It has never happened that way, and I don't think it will ever happen that way. But I will say that I'm sitting here, I'm listening to this debate. I hear one person who comes off as if they are they have a warm spot for the country. They're pushing policies that they say, hey, this is gonna make for a better economy. It's gonna be better for the American people. Then I hear another person that says, hey, look, here, man, whatever you say, I'm gonna do what I wanna do because people fear me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying I'm saying somebody fear me, but somebody else.
We need to be feared,
nigga. I ain't gonna let certain things happen. I think that Americans
Come on, let's let him take a seat right now. Cross our border, like give me.
Continue to educate yourself on that because the freedoms that we are that are the freedoms that are on the table right now today may not be there 4 years from now. No matter what, either side to go. But I will say this: look, y'all quit getting caught up in this because I still feel like on both sides more needs to be done for the people that look like me. And I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Well, my closing thoughts is once again, I want to thank Revolt. I want to thank you guys for coming. You're always welcome. No other network,
coming back, girl.
No other network, platform, or otherwise have dared to take a live show, live, raw, unedited, with far right, far left, independent, in the middle. I ask that the comments be flow tonight, just so y'all know. That means the trolls, the bots, they call me everything but a child of God. They talking about you, they talking about us, they doing all of that. We have got to grow up and understand that politics is messy. It's messy. It's chaotic. It's things that we're passionate about. It's not designed for everybody to feel good. It's designed for this sister to say, I love my God, and this is what it is, and I'm going to stand on business. And it's okay for this sister over here to say, no, that's not how God works. We have got to be okay with having these uncomfortable conversations. We are never going to get anywhere if we don't have the conversation. So if nothing else, I guarantee that somebody heard something today that made them say, you know what, she got a point. Or you know what, he got a point. And if they don't, it did something to prick your conscience. And I stand on that. And I may not be the best moderator or the best host or the best this or the best that Ted you got. But at the end of the day, I believe in what we're doing. And I believe in what we're doing here. And until MSNBC and CNN and all the rest of them invite black folks in the room like this, we still did a better job than anybody could have done because you actually have voice here, Revolt. So I want to thank Revolt for that. I want to thank you for always coming and always disagreeing or not agreeing or whatever it is. Like, hey, agreeing to disagree. And you're welcome back. And I hope we can continue to have this conversation. And I know all my folks, it's so, but this is what it is. And I know we got some
Springer political.
That's right. That's right. That's how politics should be. So good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Give yourself a round of applause.
Politics shouldn't be like that, man. Y'all niggas was gonna be. That was a great. That was a little unnecessary. But yeah, outrageous. That was a cool little after conversation. But yeah, Still definitely not voting for Kamala. That debate ain't do nothing for me. Didn't move me any. You have any closing thoughts, Sihona?
Yeah, I'm disappointed in the debate. You know.
Yeah, they didn't touch. They touched on. They went quickly, but they didn't touch on all the shit I wanted. Some of the shit I was looking for, especially I'm looking for black.
I mean, I feel like Trump did try to like. He tried to blurt out all the information because I know he felt like they were going to censor him. So I think like he was trying to say, yeah, they eating cats, they eat dogs, they doing. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to get all the information out there. But I'm like, yo, Trump, you making us look bad. They we ain't have it.
You know, people in my chat were saying that shit is real. Somebody said they live
It is.
They said that shit is real.
Yeah, I seen it on TikTok. I'm gonna tag you in it. I seen it on TikTok today.
Yeah, they definitely
a Haitian lady, a Haitian girl was locked up for eating a cat.
You know what? I think I did see that shit on TikTok.
So, yeah, it's not like it was on a body cam, of a police body cam. It wasn't fake. It was real. So, you know,
black immigrant.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? He said it. They're eating people, cats, and pets. Yeah, there was another one, a Haitian immigrant who they hung up. They killed a cat and hung it up somewhere. The fur, and it was the neighbor's cat. You know how white people feel about their cats. So yeah. Yeah, they not with it. So I mean, I feel like he was trying to bring it up that he talked about the Venezuela gangs, but she did not. I just don't feel like she touched on immigration enough.
Yeah, she didn't think about the gangs though, actually.
And he could have dug into her. Like as soon as she mentioned about that she was going to do the first home buyers program and all of that,
he should have went. Yeah,
he should have went. He said we already have a first home buyers program. So what first home buyers program are you mentioning? Are you talking about the money that you're going to give to immigrants? He should have said something, and he didn't say it because I guess he was just trying to make sure he got all that information out there. And so that's what's disappointing because it's like I know she be talking in circles. Like it was annoying because I'm like, he needs the biter right there and just say something about it right there, the information, the facts. Because she never talks. She's never gonna talk about the facts and the number. How come that was never mentioned? The number, because all they're mentioning is the immigrants who came in this year. It's been 3 years.
Right. I'm
years.
Like, last year. It's millions.
Come on, it's millions of them. Let's be honest. Like they keep saying, "Oh yeah, they're a threat." Of course, they're a threat to your vote. Like y'all sit here talking about them, like y'all think it's just they have enough to fill a whole city. Okay,
they invite them to like fucking empty cities out in the Midwest.
That's what I'm saying.
So go out to fill
come on. And y'all really was getting on Trump when Trump was deporting all them people when he was in office, and then everybody was mad because he had ICE knocking on people's door. He was mad, and they wanted to defund ICE. You know what I'm saying? And now Biden is office, and he got millions of people, but nothing is on the news about the amount of people. Y'all only mentioning the people that came in this month or last month. Talk about the people who came in for the past 4 years, and they all got work authorization cards. Because he said, "Oh no, they can't get IDs." Yes, how long do you think it takes to get an ID? Of course, they got IDs. If you came in 2020, you got an ID by now.
And I seen even besides that, I seen somebody was just talking about that. But basically, them trying to give them passes like what the fuck was it? Damn, I was just looking at that. It was like immigrant. Basically, it was something to show like they didn't need that. It was like an immigrant voting pass, something like that.
Oh, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
That's what they was trying to push, like something for that. Basically saying that they didn't need to be citizens for them to vote.
Oh,
they're
gonna do it, and you're not gonna hear about it on the news. They're gonna do it. They're gonna suppress the information because they don't want to get people pissed off. You get what I'm saying? They don't want to get black people pissed off specifically because come on now.
Yeah, they suppressing it now. They're not even doing as much coverage about the shit that's going on in Chicago, Denver. They not even the mainstream media ain't even covering that for real.
Hello, why aren't y'all talking about them Venezuela gangs that took over the apartment buildings? Why y'all talking about that? All of families that were misplaced because the Venezuelans took over that apartment building. Why y'all not talking about that? Why y'all not talking about the National Guard needing to get involved with that? Please. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to talk about that. See, but she's not going to mention. She tried her best to get off that topic and went straight into healthcare, which I heard that the Medicare if you didn't have Medicare, you'll be penalized.
That's her policy.
Wasn't it Obamacare? Wasn't Obamacare if you didn't have Medicare, you'd be penalized?
When was that? Is that happening right now? You saying that's going to happen? No,
When Obama was in office, if you did, like, you had to have some form of Medicare. Like, if you didn't have,
I'm not sure.
I thought if you didn't have,
I'm not sure. I don't know if I heard that before.
I thought that if you didn't have medical insurance, that you would be like, if something would happen to your taxes or something like that. I forgot. That was Obamacare. Yeah, exactly. So when that's why a lot of people were against Obamacare, because when Obamacare, I mean, it was changed to the Affordable Care Act now. But during that time, if you didn't have some type of medical insurance, you were going to be penalized. So it's the same amount as you. So it's like basically the government is basically forcing you to pay it. You know what I'm saying? To spend money on, when in most countries healthcare is free. So I mean, please, we having this debate, but let's be real. Let's be real. We pay a lot in taxes. It should be free. I'm just saying.
Yeah, nigga, we pay a lot of money in taxes. America get them a lot of money off our motherfucking dollars. That's the shit. Take some of that money from them damn jails.
Okay, yeah, yeah. He said you were fined for not having insurance or Obamacare. Okay, I was
okay.
Because people always love to bring up that Obamacare when they talk about healthcare. They love to say, "Oh yeah, healthcare. Obama came up with this and that." But what about the people who could not afford it? I remember I was single. You get what I'm saying? I was single in college. I could not get Medicaid, and I could not afford to pay Obamacare. And they will find your ass. So it's like, come on now, you broke, you can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? But you're still getting fined for not having it. So it was a lose-lose for some people. So please, y'all want Donald Duck to win? Yes, we do.
Not we. No speak for me. I want the person that's going to do that got tangibles for Black Americans to win. And right now, it's neither one of them.
I do. I want Donald Trump to win.
Neither one of them mentioned shit about tangibles for Black Americans in that debate. Not a goddamn thing.
It's the moderators who ask the questions. But Donald Trump. But he
could have flipped it. When they brought up that little catty remark about him saying that she didn't know she was Black, he could have been like, well, yeah, it doesn't matter if she's Black or not. But then my thing is, if she's going to claim that, then why is policies for Black Americans not at the forefront of her platform? Why has she not talked about that? Why is she saying that she's not going to do it with Black people? Then that would have been a good flip.
Because Black people obviously don't care about policy. Black people just care about having, like, they just want. She's trying to use the same gimmick Obama used. First Black.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So she's hoping she can slide her way in with that first Black little thing. You know, being the first Black woman president, which is not. You're of Asian descent. Sorry. Okay, you're of Asian descent. She was the first Asian. The first Asian senator or whatever. When she was running for senator. At least Trump spoke about jobs and work for us being stolen by these immigrants. Not once did she bring it up. No candidate can openly come out and say anything about tangibles for race. Black Democrats don't care about policy. Illegal immigration, mass deportation is good enough for me. I agree. I mean, at the end of the day,
hold on. But it's not for race. It's for our ethnic group. It's for Black Americans. Just like they can do something for Latinos or for Asians or for them damn Ukrainians, they can do something specifically for our ethnic group, Black Americans. So yes,
but Black Americans have mentioned. I mean, but Trump has mentioned Black Americans specifically. I sent you the video on TikTok. I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. No. I'm talking about. I'm responding to that comment specifically. Trump has talked about tangible or talked about things specifically for Black Americans. For sure.
He has. He's not. And he didn't use the excuse of, oh, I can't do that. Like, he didn't say that. He said, okay, yeah. I mean, when he was president, he was signing immunity. What's it called? I forgot. When you get people to prison, he was signing them. She's like he was signing tickets like it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? You out of jail. You out of jail.
Even when Ice Cube had his plan, he was trying to present to both parties. The Republicans was the only ones that trying to speak to him. The Democrats said they would speak to him after the election, and after the election, crickets. Them niggas ain't never hit him up.
Okay.
So I mean,
no, because you gotta put you know how that works. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know how it is. I mean, a lot of these policies are getting, and a lot of things are getting passed because of money. So if he got together with another group of black elitists, or not even elitists, a black upper class black successful, business people, then they could probably come up with a number and donate to the Trump or administration, and I'm sure they're gonna listen. I'm sure. But you gotta understand, most of these people, like, they're donating, okay? They're donating. They're getting money. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. I understand you wanna present policies or present things, but at the end of the day, you gotta organize like these people do. They gotta organize, and you gotta donate. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. And a lot of these Trump people, they be you know how much he raised when he decided. You know how much he raised in like a few months for his campaign. Trump got like $400 million.
My mind was about to go there. I was like, wasn't it a couple $100 million?
Yeah. And he's already a billionaire.
Yeah.
So you're talking about $500 million. He's already a billionaire himself.
I raised a lot. Well, they said that I'm disputing where it came from, but what did she raise? I think she raised like 80 million in like a night or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Was it 80 million or 8 million, something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure she raised a lot of money, maybe more than that,
By now, yeah, it's definitely more than that.
Yeah, that's what she raised. And did you see those statistics on every president before and after becoming president? How much their net worth increased after becoming president? Yeah, it's traumatic. Like, I think Obama was worth like 2 million or 1 or 2 million after being president. He was worth like 70, 80 million.
Damn.
And Trump's net worth is the only one who went down.
Wow.
After his presidency. Yep.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they can say what they want to say. People can say what they want to say. I feel like, we only have 2 candidates. If I'm going to vote, I'm going to vote for the one that I feel like.
Well, we got 3. We got more than 2 candidates, technically. We still got Cornel West. Anybody vote for Cornel West?
Yeah, come on now. I ain't about to waste my vote now. I'm about to waste the vote. I'm just being honest. I'm just saying.
No, I was talking to Mom about that too, because I was like, yeah, I was thinking about voting for Cornel West. He seemed like, what I'm saying, maybe the only one, because neither one of them are doing that's really talking about shit. But I'm like, honestly, at this point in the game, it's like 2 months until the election. Do you know, most of the time when I bring up Cornel West, most people don't even know that he's running for president. I don't even think I've ever seen him on a mainstream. I don't think I've yet to see him on a mainstream platform, like promoting his candidacy. To be honest, like, they're not the only people that are pushing this is Kamal.
Yeah, he's not his. I mean, and it shouldn't be that hard to promo because of TikTok and Instagram. He's not doing a good job.
It might be his marketing season. I don't even think the Shade Room posted this nigga. I'm like, damn, your teammate reached out to the Shade Room.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because with Big Carson up there, everybody do a Big Carson. So, I mean, come on now.
Yeah, not for real. At this point, I feel like voting for a third party. I don't think we should be voting for anybody who's not giving a sandwich. So if the third party is the one that's giving a sandwich, that's where we should go. But realistically, I don't really think he got a chance. I'm gonna be real.
No, I'm not gonna waste my vote. I'm sorry. It's might as well not vote at all. It's not gonna waste my vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna vote Kamala. I'm gonna vote. I'm sorry. I mean, and then I'm gonna vote. I agree with the Christian girl, what she was saying. I don't think that everything that Trump. No, I don't think. Some people get too caught up in religion and think everything that Trump does is, he's just faithful Christian. No. However, a lot of his policies, he's a conservative. So of course, being a conservative, a lot of his policies, a lot of his principles are going to align with Christianity and the Christian faith, because most conservatives are Christian.
Yeah.
Republicans are.
A lot
of them are conservatives.
That's for sure. For sure.
I mean, I'm voting on that side. I'm gonna always go to more conservative route, because that. I mean, like you said, he's even going to, which I never heard a president say that. you know, he's going to make sure that IVF, you know,
Yeah,
is
I can't believe she was straight up lied about that shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Even when she said, I'm like, why would he be against IVF if he's pro-life? He's for the family. He's trying to build a family. That don't even make sense.
and that's crazy.
That
He
don't
just
even
had
make
a
sense.
speech, he literally had a speech last month and announced that he was going to make sure that he did that. He said he was going to mandate that private healthcare companies and public Medicaid has to cover IVF. He
Oh
said,
wow, okay.
I mean, and you know what? That makes sense. Because how is it that we have to, people who have a problem with having children has to pay out of pocket, but people who want to get rid of a child
can do it for free?
Come on now.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. For
Come
sure.
on. But we want to make sure everyone these women has access to health care for their bodies. Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't like the trickery within their language. You know, even with them talking about reproductive rights and shit. Like, them niggas ain't put no damn reproductive rights.
They ain't not for no reason. They know why they want them sales.
Exactly. They not for no damn reproductive. That's
They know why they
rights should surround itself within reproduction, within family.
I need somebody to bring up them numbers. How many black babies were aborted this year or last year compared to how many were born? Talk about.
Don't let me go get Angela Stanton. For real.
Let's talk about that.
No
I
matter.
bet that would open people's eyes. I bet that would, come on now. How is our birth rate going down and everybody else is going up? How?
Yeah, I can't support nothing like that. I'm sorry. Especially as a black woman. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not supporting another form of genocide for black Americans. I'm good. I'm not going to
Anything that has to do with that is going to help the family, the black family structure, that's going to help, you know, I'm going to always go vote on that side. You know, because I'm all about the family and bringing together the black family.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of the conservative ideas is really aligned with with most black Americans, morals and values.
But we've been tricked.
Yeah, a lot of it through, like you was talking about, symbolism, emotionality. You know, so of course, and trying to paint them as the big bad wolf, or using Donald Trump really these last few years as the big bad wolf. It's been easy, you know.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I remember voting for Obama in college.
Oh, for real? I'm weak.
Yeah, I went and I voted for Obama because he was black, and I remember the whole school, like, which is Obama this. Everybody had the Obama shirts on, and I'm just like, I wasn't educated on what I was voting for. You know, I wasn't educated on him. I honestly, looking at the debate now, and back then, I don't think, you know, I understood what was going on, and I don't think they really hit on topics that like mattered. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are awakening and getting because of social media. Like the majority of they can't trick us like before.
It's very easy to access the information through social media. That's a fact.
Yeah. Like you can literally watch something on CNN and then I'll go on TikTok maybe an hour later and say CNN lying. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hold on, wait. I gotta research this. Wait, CNN lying? Hold on, where the information that they got a whole video live of what's really going on. I'm like, okay. You know, they can't, it's not like before where the news networks control all of the news, which that's how they want it.
Exactly. And even before, like even when you voted for Obama, social media wasn't nearly like MySpace. I think maybe Facebook was around. When you was in college, Instagram maybe. But even then, like the influence wasn't as strong as it wasn't as easily accessible as it is now. Back then, it was more so based around friends and family. Now it's based around whole networks of information. You know what I'm saying? Platforms. So yeah.
But see, that's the thing. Before COVID, you get what I'm saying? This is why a lot of people hated Trump, because we didn't have TikTok. When Trump was running for president, we didn't have TikTok. So everything the media put out about Trump made us hate him.
That's true too. It was very easy to hate Trump. That's a fact.
Nobody knew why they hated Trump, but all they was doing was regurgitating what they heard on the news. But now we have TikTok, and this information is being circled on TikTok constantly. People are real, and then you had remember they banned him from Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Because Trump used to be saying they're lying in this, and they banned him. So then, but when TikTok came out, it was hard because then you got people talking about it, and they can't control it because this is not an American-owned company, and they try to ban TikTok for that reason. Because they got people talking about Trump, talking about that's another thing. Because she said we should have control over our bodies, but then you made us all get the vaccine.
Yeah, but we get control up until then. Up until it come to a jab.
That's what I'm saying. Hold on. We should have a say over their bodies, but we were all forced to get that vaccine, and we're all forced to get vaccines. And that's another thing Trump was against. You know what I'm saying? But they made him seem like he was a crazy person for being against that. And they tore him up on CNN because they said, "Oh, he's telling people to drink bleach. He doesn't tell people not to get the vaccine." And now that I know, I see why and that's why it's hard when they call him a criminal. You get what I'm saying? They can't get Trump supporters to get emotional because we know the information. You get what I'm saying? Like we've seen the information, we're seeing it online. We are seeing people talk about it live, educated people we're able to listen to. It's not just us listening to CNN no more.
Yeah, and even besides that, we live in
the room, and you don't got it. And you ain't. A lot of times you don't have to go to college. A lot of these people who are voting haven't been to college. You think you're the most educated person in the room, so you think you can sway everyone with what CNN you heard on CNN or your colleagues talk about because you're a Democrat, but not realizing that these are people who got the facts. The people on TikTok got the facts because they're live in right there.
Grassroots media.
You know what I'm saying?
Black media. For real.
That's the difference. That's the difference from this election and the election, before in 2020. That's why they can't have the same Trump haters and people. They're hating it. They don't understand why people don't hate him. They don't understand.
People want to Trump back. It's a lot more people that's fucking with Trump. I ain't gonna even hold them. Like a lot. Black people specifically. Like it's a lot more people fucking with Trump.
What? You have seen people literally blocked me because I supported Trump when he was in office.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. You was going through all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was going through all that. Okay.
More times there, buddy.
Yeah. People blocked me. People told me, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to, they threatened me. They said I was a coon. They called me a coon, called me ignorant. And I'm like, and it's because it's hard when you live in that world where it's like, the truth, but then everybody else thinks they are truth. They're how you say, the sheep don't understand that they're sheep. So it's like, you're dumb. They all the way on the way to slaughterhouse. They on the way to the slaughterhouse about to get killed, and you going the other way, and they're like, "You're dumb. You're going the wrong way." And I'm like, bro, right there, like you about to get ate. Like it's right there, the slaughterhouse. Nah, you're dumb. So I got blocked and I got ate up for those things. But I mean, I knew what I believed in because I remember during that time, I went with the vaccine at all. As soon as he said he went with the vaccine, I said, "Hold on, who is this white dude?"
Nah, for real, I feel you. It definitely made me look. Yeah, that wasn't talking with that jab. That's for sure.
And I'm in the groups. I'm in these groups with women. During that time, it was Facebook. I didn't have TikTok. I was in groups with other women who also didn't believe in the vaccine, who who were trying to sue these companies. And you know who they were talking about? Trump. They was like, yeah, Trump is trying to make it so he's fighting against Big Pharma because they're trying to make it a law that you can't sue. You know what I'm saying? You can't sue the vaccine. And they did pass it, of course. You can't sue. You can't sue now. You know what I'm saying? You can't sue these companies, the vaccine companies. But a lot of people were suing. And so I think even his kids, some of his kids.
They didn't even touch on that. My bad. I thought about that. I don't think they didn't touch on that, did they?
They didn't talk. They're not going to touch on that. I think now they got him. He's not going to even touch on that subject. I think he got him too censored.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe.
He used to talk about the vaccine. Like he used to say when he was president, he used to say, I think you want to get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. He say stuff like that,
Yeah, because it's like, with the new, they talking about it might be monkeypox or another version of COVID out and shit stuff. That would be interesting though to see how they see the responses and see how they would handle if we had to go into another pandemic or something like that. If we had another pandemic, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think that was a scam-demic, a plandemic, a scam-demic, whatever.
Plandemic.
That
might be on purpose why they did. They mentioned it. Right.
I won't be getting any. They won't be adding another shot to the list. I mean, how many shots we gonna fucking get to survive? Gotta get 50 shots to survive?
Yeah, don't get your boosters. That's 3 more.
Come on. Damn, I just came out in the womb. Like, you gotta give me 50 shots, please. From S. So, you know, I mean, I'm glad that we have social media, but I'm glad that a lot of people, I'm sure more people tuned in this year that usually don't tune in, you know, and it's gonna be good to see the clips. Well, you already know you got to do some clips on TikTok because you know you're gonna see plenty of clips.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be some clips. I probably still talk about it again after I rewatch some parts. Maybe on my next live, to be honest. Because it just went by. It felt like they flew by. You know, that's why I didn't even pause it. I didn't want to stop it. I just wanted to keep listening to it, but they kind of just flew by them damn topics. So I'll probably go back and rewatch a little bit of it just to see what parts I want to kind of take from it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a little lackluster. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be a little better than that.
It's never the standard. It's never.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a little better than that. But
Trump did what he always do. He repeated himself a few times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
repeating the question back in.
Yes, and then Kamal repeating the question back. Exactly. That's exactly how that went.
She really did that. It was outrageous. Did they talk about inflation?
Did they talk about what?
Inflation.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they talked about that either.
I mean, I came in a little late, so I might have missed that part. But I didn't hear him talk about inflation.
Maybe I could be. I don't know. That's why I said I gotta rewatch it though, because I watched it all back to back and shit. I'm not sure. I might have just missed it. I mean, I might have just forgot. I might have just forget about it. I gotta go back and rewatch it a little bit, see a little bit of it. But yeah, nah, neither one of them deserve my vote right now. I'm sorry. We gotta have more tangibles on the tables for FBAs, baby. I don't see it. I need more. I need more. I need something, baby. I need reparations. Really. That really need to be on everybody. Black. Reparations need to be first for everybody.
You right.
Black Americans. That need to be first. They should be getting shit without reparations, to be honest.
That's exactly what Jock said. He said,
for real. Honestly, he's right. He's right on that for sure. Honestly, because don't know neither one side want to talk about that because they know neither side really wants that. But for sure, that should be at the forefront of all Black Americans' minds is reparations. To be real, if we're gonna participate in this bullshit ass system, so we need reparations. But at least at the very least, it needs to be some sort of tangibles and policies, and neither one of them is really presenting enough tangibles and policies for Black Americans or any, if that. So no, they don't deserve my vote. I get it.
if you do exercise your right to vote Trump 2024. All right. Wait.
These damn legal today.
Listen, if I make it over there in time, I'm definitely gonna go vote. I'm voting immediately.
Oh, they did talk about inflation. Amir said they did talk about inflation.
Okay.
I gotta watch it.
I didn't get to hit. Oh yeah, I gotta have to go back and watch it. I came in too late.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it. Matter of fact, they might have talked. You know what? I came in, I think like 10:15. I was supposed to go live at 9 once it first started. I went live at like 9:12. And it was just coming off or something. So maybe that's when they were talking. They could have been talking about it in the beginning too. Maybe I missed
I would love to know what she said and what they said about inflation. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch that.
I'm gonna go back and watch it because I don't know. I don't remember them saying. I feel like I don't remember them saying nothing about that. But maybe I'm tripping. I remember immigration and I'm talking about the.
Oh, they just dove right into inflation. Wow.
Oh, they started off with inflation?
I'm just saying because I only missed the first parts. So.
Yeah, so maybe they did, but maybe they did though, because I feel like I remember a good majority of the shit they touched on, and I feel like inflation was something I was looking to hear for. So I feel like if I heard it, that would have been like a flag would have went off, a light would have went off. You know what I'm saying? That's something I would have held on to, but I don't think I remember him saying something about that. Maybe I missed it. I'm not sure. Trump said inflation was high on the Kamala and that she is Biden. She was like, I'm not Biden. And okay. Yeah, I'm not Biden. I'm Trump. But what is she saying? See her non-talking. I do remember that part. But what did she say about? I don't think she presented what she was going to do about inflation. I do remember her saying that rebuttal though. Like I'm not.
Would you shut up? You're the vice president. Come on now. So you're trying to tell me that you had different ideas than Joe Biden? You're trying to tell me that what your ideas and your plans did not align with Joe Biden's, so you would have did something different to avoid inflation? Please. I doubt it. Come on.
And even now, to be honest, she keep talking about her motherfucking policies, how she got a plan. Where they at? Because Trump shit, if you go to the Trump website, his shit is clearly stated what he wants to do, what he's trying to do, etc., etc. Kamal shit is not up there. So
Well, who she got there? Somebody dancing? Please.
Who?
I'm just saying on her website. She got somebody up there dancing and performing.
No, she got a bunch of buttons up there where you can donate. That's what
I bet.
And merchandise I think you can buy.
Her shit probably go to OnlyFans.
I'm dead. But for real. Egregious. What the hell? Yeah, nah, so I ain't fucking with that. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have to go back because I do remember that part, but I don't feel like she actually said anything on that part. Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't think she actually said what she was trying to do for inflation. But whatever, because she didn't talk about it before she said shit. But whatever. But all right, we going on 3 hours. Damn, this was a long ass stream. This is outrageous.
That was a
long ass stream, boy.
Yes.
Hey, where is this? Trump's playing Project 25.
That was me. My bad.
You what? That was you that did what?
I mean, it's long. The stream.
Oh, I'm dead. No, that wasn't your fault. That was a Revolt. We watched Revolt and shit afterwards. Sorry. Thank you. But I appreciate you being up here.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, we watched that afterwards. That's why. But I appreciate you being up here, baby.
All right.
Much love, sis.
All right, y'all. Y'all good night. Y'all have a good night.
All right, bro. Bye.
All right.
Cool. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all staying in here for this long ass ride. Jesus Christ, we are going on 3 hours and 9 minutes. Lord, help me, Lord. I appreciate y'all though. Bunch of word salad. It was a bunch. I'm gonna go back and look. That's what I said. I might even do like a pre-recorded video and maybe take a clip from one of the parts of the debate that I want to react to, something like that. But I'm definitely gonna touch on it again. I just got to go back and look at it. That was a whole lot within these damn last 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? So we got a little bit of commentary in, but I might go back, double back on some of that. And see, because I definitely don't remember her saying what the fuck she was trying to do for inflation or Trump. So we'll go back and see. Whole lot of words out, whole lot of deflecting going on, but that's the usual. We expected that. Anyways, make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, Zeze Rants. My backup is Zeze Rants 2. Twitter is Zeze Rants. Patreon is A to Z TV if you want that exclusive. TikTok, Zeze Rants. Cash App, zezebih if you want to send some donations. Appreciate you in advance. Other than that, baby, that's all I got. I appreciate y'all. All right. Shout out to y'all in the chat. What's your name? JMI Official Live, Eduardo 99. I don't know what the rest of that is. Uno, dos, tres. Bronze, Ami Brydie, Jai, MJ, Mike, Anthony, Jerry, Legendary. I appreciate all of y'all. I see y'all on the next one. Peace.